On mountaintops, yes, but why are all these courses on mountaintops? This is the Imperial Schools of Honor podcast. I am Josh Folan.
And I am Jay Baxtron.
And we are going to be bullshit about the 400 years of console gaming as we revisit the periodicals that covered it again. Today, we are punching out from being half buried in the heavy rough Electronic Arts' first golf drop for the Sega Genesis, the sterling silver software developed PGA Tour Golf. And we don't need no stinking literature of Antiquity for a golf game, so we just played blind like real retro gaming men would. Except the strategy guide and the manual. Emulation disclosure. I emulated my ass off via the Genesis Plus Core and RetroArch my PC, mostly while lounging on my couch and tapping the B button on my 8-bit Do Pro 3. I did use a little bit of OG 3-button Genesis controller to start, but I quickly realized that there's nothing gained in that form factor by doing that, and any controller will do to just tap a button, tap-a-roo. Jay, how did you play?
I played it with my 6-button Sega controller via my PC through Kega Fusion, actually. So that was nice. Also sitting on the couch, because you have to relax, otherwise you'll just rage.
you have to center your existence a great deal in order to persevere through this playing this game 100%. Please rate and review the podcast, be part of the ISOH movement, give us validation on your podcast platform of choice in the form of a rating or review, and we will read it here on the pod as long as it's either supportive, makes us feel good, and or is funny. What we're jamming on now, Jay, what are you jamming on now from the Pro Shop?
Hanging out when I'm not hanging out in the Pro Shop these days. Only a couple games, so... First of all, College Football 26, a little bit here and there.
I thought you were done. You said you were done.
So
you said you were done.
Yeah,
fell off the
I'm
fucking
done.
wagon.
I
Just
did.
like the Bills. Just like me with the Bills. Fell off the wagon.
Fair enough. I'm off the wagon in terms of the competitive dynasty. But I didn't want to fully let go of football quite yet.
Well, now we're on the wagon, Jay. It's amazing to me. You know what's interesting? I've used that term a lot in the last month or so, and I'm shocked how many times I have to explain what on and off the wagon mean to people.
Really?
I can't believe, people presume on, and I get the intuitive suggestion that on the wagon will be on the wagon of the thing, but that's not it. On
like the bandwagon.
On the wagon is off the thing, right? Anyhow,
fair enough,
sorry.
Yeah. But yeah, so I decided just to kind of go back to my old Ohio University dynasty that I'd started when College Football 26 first came out as kind of a test, like let me take OU, and I made it to the playoffs a couple times, got beat by Ohio State every time, and I just said forget this, like this is annoying. So I was like, you know what, I'll just take that. I'll try them one more time, but I'll take them. And since you get job offers at the end of every season, I'll just take a job offer at a new school. Whatever job offers me, like a head coaching job, I'll take it. And what job?
Mercenary. Just a fucking mercenary.
Yeah. I was like, you know what? I'll rebuild a lower Power 4 conference instead of like lowly Ohio U. That'll be easier for me to get the manpower to take down the big boys such as OSU. Who do I get a job offer from? Freaking Indiana. And so it's like annoying. Like they just won.
I thought you were gonna say Michigan.
No, that would be. I would turn that down. There's rules against these type of things. I have lines that will not be crossed under any circumstances. Okay. And I will not take them to the glory land. But yeah, so I unfortunately took over Indiana, even though it feels weird now because they then subsequently won the championship, and it's like this doesn't even feel special, and they beat the Buckeyes, so screw this team. So I played them through one season, simmed half the games, really just enjoyed the recruiting, trying to see if I could bring recruits in. And focus on that. I thought you were going to say
try to sabotage them.
No. No. Because I kind of want my coaching record to be good. So I want to still get the good recruits, but I'm simming half of the games because I just don't care. So I'm in season 2 and I'm like, okay, now that I've gotten a fresh batch of recruits in, I'm getting 5 stars, which I've never gotten before in recruiting. So that's great. But I'm definitely at the end of the season, as soon as I get to the end of it, finding a new team. And then preferably, I think what I would like to do is take on UVA, since that's my actual other alum, my other school. That is the University of Virginia, for all you non-Cavalier fans out there. But yeah, just because they're, stadium small, they're an ACC school, like that would be much more of a fun rebuild and a school that I actually have a connection with versus kind of just playing the game. Because now it just kind of feels like, yeah, whatever, Indiana. It feels almost like I'm playing with Alabama, like they just won. So it's like, it's not as fun as like taking the lowly school that they used to be to the championship. So just choking myself through that, kind of trying to choke it down.
Did I ever come down there?
You did. You and Groswell came down. Are you kidding me? I was the long snapper.
Is that where that was? That was the memory I had in my mind, but I thought I had made that up, and that was down in Miami or something. Okay.
For those who don't know the story, like we were obviously fraternity brothers.
It's a sports episode too. This is totally fitting. Yeah, this is totally topical.
These guys come down to visit me. I'm in grad school. I've graduated from Ohio State. They're a year younger, so they're still at Ohio State, but I'm down at University of Virginia, and it's the summertime. So I'm in the dorms. They come to visit, and long story short, we're clearly at a bar one night. Like, it's popping. This is like the bar to go to, our version of the spot.
It's hilarious how well I can visualize that space.
Right? Oh,
it doesn't I can't remember anything ever, Jay, especially from a binge drinking event. Like, I viscerally remember this bar.
Yes, exactly. And we were there multiple times. Like, that is a core memory. That's why it was a core memory. And, obviously we're being social, being the dudes that we are, talking to people. And I don't remember how it happened, but there were Virginia football players there. Oh, God. And we're just talking funny. Like, I don't know what kind of like conversation got into it with them about. But like, I said something about like, yeah, we're the national champions because Ohio State had just won. Not me. Obviously I ran track. I was not on the football team. Like, no part of the football team was like,
no part of the national championship.
Somehow that
0 rings. Like, I received 0 rings.
0 rings in my but like, one of them kind of made that comment like, wait a minute, were you on the team? And I was like, no. And he was like, well, oh. And then the joke became, oh, he must have been the long snapper. So it was like funny. Like, it wasn't like we were talking shit, but it was like funny, so it was a good time though. It was a good time.
In my memory, you owned it at some point though. There was some point where you used it.
Of course, because of course. I was absolutely going along with it.
Yeah. That's a very important clarification though, yes. Jay.
I was.
It's one thing for someone else to just jokingly call you the long snapper. It's another to go, I am because here's the thing. The visceral memory I have is you saying, yes, I was the long snapper for the national championship Ohio State Buckeyes. It's like that full sentence was like actually said.
Absolutely. I was waiting for you to say the full sentence.
Which is very funny. Yes, I was the long snapper for the Ohio State national championship Ohio State Buckeyes.
Yes. Good. It works on the ladies every time, guys.
That's a great gig. That's like a known thing. Like if you can become a good long snapper, you can have an NFL job for a decade plus, no sweat. Like the guy that's been, they do nothing else. They literally have no other job on a professional football team. College is probably not as specialized, I imagine. You still find the guy who's best at it, obviously. Right. But in the NFL, you can keep a job for over a decade. The guy that's been doing it for the Bills, he doesn't do shit else. And he has had a job dependably. Like, he can, joke about it, too.
Right.
He's, one of the guys, the salary cap gymnastics that happen when they go to final roster cutdowns.
Yeah.
To, get a guy onto the IR, the injury, I keep wanting to call it report, but that's not right. The injury list, basically, at the start of the season, they have to be on your, initial roster, which means knowing you're going to put them on IR and they can't play for 6 weeks, you basically have to keep a player that you know isn't going to play for 6 weeks, which is problematic. So there are certain players where their deal is not salary cap heavy and there's not salary cap implications to do this, where they will just cut a player and they call it going to stand in the parking lot. You're just you're cut, but tomorrow they're going to re-sign you on the same deal basically. And you're not, and it's just like a verbal agreement that they know everything's fine and they're not going anywhere. They're not going to try to look for a new job. They're not going to lose the player. They're not going to look for a new contract, whatever. I don't know how they work this out verbally, but yeah, they call it going to wait in the parking lot. And every year, they often will do this with the long snappers because they're on these they're relatively cheap deals, but they
we need you. You're going to be there,
right?
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Interesting.
That's one of the ones they'll do that. Yeah, it's a super interesting thing every year. Fucking cutting the long snapper, and he just stands in the parking lot and gets signed the next day. Anyways,
it's a great gig. Somebody's got to have it.
For sure. For sure. To do, it's like, yeah, I mean, it's like the kicker phenomenon times a million. Like, you have this one stupid job. You don't really have to do anything. You kicking's hard and it's pressure filled and whatever. And if you're good at it, you deserve the money. But you're not really playing football.
Right. You might have to tackle somebody if things go really sideways.
Really sideways, yeah. If shit goes really off off the fucking whatever, you might have to play a little football for a second, but probably not.
Yeah.
Anyhow.
But yeah, man, other than that, the one game, other than some Marvel Rivals sprinkled in here and there, just because it's fun for PvP purposes, we're really talking about Cyberpunk 2077. And I am legend, man. I feel like God walking amongst mere mortals. I think it might be the best video game ever made. Like, it might be the best. It might be the best. Now that they've patched it, it's certainly my favorite of any kind of recent memory. Like, it's like, I've talked about it before, obviously, and how I've been playing lately, but just the more I get into it, like the world, the way that everything is so interactive, the NPCs, the way they just do things that other games don't do. And it's, even when you're riding in a car, like, there are moments when I'm just okay sitting riding in the car to this location instead of fast traveling, because I'm having a conversation with one of the NPCs who is important to my character's storyline. It's just, I don't know, like, it sounds simple to say out loud, but like the way that it's done in this world that's very alive in this dystopian future is just, it's excellent, man. It really is. And the funny thing for me, starting the game, Courtney and I both started it, and I never play games on easy. I never do that because I'm like, no, I'm hardcore. Like, I gotta play at least on normal, if not a harder level. Like, I need to play the game as intended, right? But with this one, because I was thinking about, I was playing Expedition 33 and some other stuff, Courtney was like, well, just play this on easy just so you can enjoy the story. And I was like, you know what, maybe for once I'll try that. So the first 15 hours, probably the first 20 or so hours, I was on easy, and I'm like, there's no freaking way, man. I am like I absolutely can't do this. So bumped it up to normal, and it still doesn't matter because the way that I have built my character through the skill trees.
OP by then, yeah.
Well, no, not even the OP by then. I think it's just I was very. A lot of times you get into games now and they have expansive skill trees. You may not be aware of how everything works together, right? So you're just like, oh, I think I want this lightning ability to do this thing. And I think I want this earth, however it goes. But with this, I really specifically focused on intelligence and technical ability, and the powers within that are really I built my cyberware, my cybernetic enhancements to really just enhance that. So I am just a cannon. I can walk into a fight and just slow down time and basically just take out all the enemies with net runner explosives with my mind without even having to fight them. Or I can take in a gun. I don't even have to do it's so good.
They nerfed the shit out of that in Fallout 4, the VATS system.
Yeah.
That was in 3 and Fallout Vegas. And that really sucked. That is, I love, I'm presuming it works. You target body parts or something? Is that?
Yeah. You're just I'm targeting each person. It's I can
that's VATS. And
cause them suicide and make them take out others.
Because, the bat, that's the thing I was going to say. Listen to that. That's what I did with Skyrim. I mean, partly because in that situation, I was playing in VR, and you're literally just changing how many times I have to do this with my actual arm, which is, it's just not, I don't want to fucking do that a million times while I'm sitting on my couch playing Skyrim. I'm playing it for the story and to do other stuff. The battle in Skyrim is by no means its fucking strong suit. So I think all FPSs, I have my marks on them here on my thing, are kind of that. That's why I don't like FPSs. They're just fucking whatever. It's just how many times am I going to hit this thing to make it go away so I can get back to what I was doing. That's battle in a first person thing, and I just don't care about that. So yeah, taking that out is no big deal. And yeah, I mean, I did exactly that for Skyrim, where I just, you're just playing it for the environmental things, not that dumb system.
It's fun to me because I like both. Like there are times like I walk into most battles and because I'm technically enhanced, I'm like immediately slowing time, scanning the enemies. I'm like, synapse you're going to suicide yourself. You're going to, but there's other times I'm like, you know what? I have just found this amazing weapon. Like I'm going like balls to the wall and I'll just go in and just start targeting, exploding. And there's like an internal struggle. It's like, do I want to use my tech ability this time? Do I want to use all my weaponry this time? Yeah. And I think it's so fun.
That's what I was saying actually too. You know? Is that VATS is cool because you're then, you only have a finite amount. It's like a stamina based thing. So you only do so many of these things. You can't just fucking slow time and kill everything and go back to real time. Right. So it's like, you're like deciding. So if there's like 3 enemies, like, okay, I want to like, I'm not going to be able to kill this one, but if I shoot its fucking leg, it's going to lose its mobility. And then, okay, I can headshot this one because I can actually kill that within my... Yeah, so it adds, obviously, I mean, it goes without saying, my dumb little diatribes on here, like, it adds strategy to something that is normally just brute force, and it's way cooler. Yeah.
And that is, honestly, to me, I think, what elevates it, because I love first-person shooters, but my wife fucking hates them. She's like, I don't want a gun, give me a bow, give me a knife. Like, she's more like you. She's like, don't bring, but she loves Cyberpunk. Because she's like, I cannot believe I like this game so much for it to be an FPS. She's like, I just can't believe that. And so I think that's to its credit, because you can play it so many different ways. And even the shooting is done in a way that you can be so badass. You're just like, oh, this is great. This is fantastic. And stress relieving in these crazy days. So yeah, I can't say enough about the game. And I'm already looking forward to buying the DLC, which Courtney has. So I'm definitely getting on the train with that as well. Because I don't want the party to end. It's got to go. Got to keep going.
Maybe I'll look into the VR situation.
Dude, it's so worth it.
I don't have, that's in my diet, my rundown here is don't really have anything now.
And I'm even, the funny thing is I'm even playing it from time to time. I'll put it on the Quest 3 now and play it, on the screen there. And
they're advertising that now. I just saw a Quest advertisement for Game Pass in their little bullshit on the screen.
It's
digital screen.
It is. I will say, as an aside, I do appreciate the 3's functionality now that I can really have a full screen gaming experience. I can play Cyberpunk there with all the raunchiness that happens in that game and all the mature content, with my kids playing over there without them having to see anything, but I can be aware of them. So it's actually a pretty nice situation. I do recommend. So it's good stuff.
Yeah, especially you're trying to partition out someone else. That's a great avenue to it.
Yeah, because you don't want to just send them out of the room every time I play the game. That's part of the reason why there's so many games on my backlog now that are more, adult games or more violent. Because I'm like, I can't, I don't want you in here while this is happening. Like that would be terrible parenting. So they end up just not getting played, which is just like a shame. So this is a kind of a nice in between compromise.
Fair.
But yeah, man, between those games, pretty much it's Cyberpunk all the time when I'm not chilling here in the pro shop, trying not to smash glasses. So
still haven't played Batman, huh?
I can't yet. I got to finish Cyberpunk. I can't divide that attention because I know Cyberpunk was. I can't. I got to focus. No more backlogs. Okay. No more backlog editions.
They announced that they canceled the new one. Like the Meta closed a bunch of studios.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
That they had acquired, and that's how all those games happened. They closed the one that did Asgard's Wrath, Sanzo or whatever it is. They closed the one that they did Batman with.
So that's unfortunate, man.
Nixed a bunch of their AAA in quotations development, fucking whatever pipelines.
Hopefully they'll break off, do their own thing, come back.
Maybe, the personnel,
the
perhaps.
People,
yeah. I mean, they need those licenses to make those games, but yeah.
I mean, they can make dope stuff maybe without those licenses, or maybe take that. I mean, I'll leave it there.
Word? Okay. That's it?
That's it, man.
Okay. I finished Half-Life Alyx.
Nice.
It was good. It was fun. Glad I played it for a 70% discount off or whatever. Anyways, big studio shit all kind of feels the same, though, to some degree. And I'm probably just a snob, but it's all just, I don't know, man. I was like, by the end of it, I was just like, okay, this is okay. I've had enough of this. Let's just get it off the list, And like, it never did anything like wrong or got worse or whatever. It just, the story was always kind of meh. And like, yeah, it felt great and looked great, but it, again, was just shooting shit eventually. And like, it's just not, I don't know. It's just not a...
Yeah, man, that sucks.
It just never elevated in any way. And that was,
dude,
by the end, I was over it.
Hearing you say that sounds how I felt about Avowed. Like, I was playing through it, like...
I just took that out of my wish list.
Did you?
Like not even watching for it. I was into cleaning mode. It wasn't just that.
Okay. I'm like, it was a beautiful looking game. Don't get me wrong. It was like, there's a lot going on there. There's a lot to like. But I was kind of just like, okay, all right. I'm doing it. Like,
it's just reskinned of what I've done a million times, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it's a shame, I think.
I mean, they tried to do some new stuff, but it was kind of just like, all right. But it's, it's kind of all right.
Not enough.
If you got time to kill, sure, by all means.
And nothing else.
Game Pass,
that's
not
better, right? Yeah. That's, exactly the one I'll get to here. And the last one I had in my backlog is exactly that. But so the other thing that I'm actually, of modern gaming, that I was actually excited about was Mastering the Forest. The fucking achievement badge. The Master Achievement badge is behind me right now. And it only took me 192 hours, Jay. No big deal. Whoa. That's my playtime. And again, mind you, this is in Steam only, not what I would have additionally played on PS4 ever so many moons ago, which it couldn't have been less than like 40 hours. It probably way more than that, actually. Somewhere between, I would guess, between like 40 and 70 hours, maybe, what I did the first time, when I kind of just leveled off at the beach and didn't have the cojones to go into the caves and get anywhere in the game. So yeah, a lot of fucking played to get there, but kind of because I had this Revive 10 multiplayer people was like the last thing that I had for a while.
That's right.
And like it was kind of a mildly funny story popping that, because I had this game. I kind of described last time. I had this game, this world I had started a save game just for that, because you would get booted from other people's games, and that was like particularly frustrating.
Right.
And so what it amounted to was occasionally me just popping into this world of mine and hoping someone showed up, and I would kind of just like voyeuristically follow them around, like waiting for them to get killed. Like we would get into battles, and I would just like kind of hang back and not really help. I was just like doing all this like, grimy
what's
shit.
This dude? Like,
just this grimy shit, just trying to get this dumbass Chivo. And it was surprisingly, or it surprised me how hard it was. Like I realized, I guess, how difficult it is to die in that game. It's not easy, and unless you're like really mobbed by the really high level shit, like the normal cannibals, it's really hard to die. And like running around out in the forest, you don't see a lot of the really heavy shit unless you like go and kind of stick your nose in things. So I was constantly again trying to get people like, come on, you want to go to the caves? Let's go to the caves. Let's go. Like, follow me. Let's go to the caves. Yeah. A lot of that shit. But anyways, so whatever. It was one of those sessions where I just jumped in, like, let's see if I can. I'd been stuck at I think 6 forever, or maybe it was 5, but like, a number to go still. And I would just occasionally pop in, and this was another one of those things where see if I can just grind one of them out and get a little closer to finishing this and getting it out of my life. So I go in, and it was last Friday. The game filled up. It was an 8-person thing, and it filled up pretty good. I had like a lot of people running around the world, so that obviously a lot of opportunities, whatever. And the thing about this game, like, it's total multiplayer with a bunch of people is total fucking chaos. It's like everything wrong with multiplayer. You have like a bunch of fucking children and or maniacs running around. They're console commanding, basically cheating, spawning like a million weapons and like crazy structures and just like doing crazy blowing things. They're just like, they look like fucking, I don't know, like chaos robots, They're like just merchants of chaos. They're just running around like trying to whatever. It's not at all playing the game as it's intended. I don't know how it could be enjoyable, but there's a lot of that shit that'll happen. So, and it's like ripping down the things I built and shit too, just like all sorts of just mayhem, So this was no different. That's going on. But like I've saved my game. It doesn't matter if they destroy it. I can just not save and like close it. So I'm just letting this shit go. It's like just chaos happening. I'm just like running around hoping someone dies. Maybe even blows himself up. I don't know, whatever. And like, so that's happening, and a new player spawns in, and you always spawn over at the plane crash, right? So when someone, you can see that happen, and they have their little names above them, so no matter where they're at on the map, you can see that someone's appeared. So I run over to the plane, and I was like, greet them, like, hey, what's up? Just like fucking, you get on the radio, like, what do you want to do? Like, what do you, go die? Like, I don't say that normally, but that's like, that's what I'm thinking, And like, so I go up, this guy asks what I'm doing, and, like having a normal conversation. So I'm like, okay, cool. Not a maniac. Maybe we can go cave splunking together or something, and I can get 1 or 2 revivals. Awesome. So he's like, well, what are you doing? And I'm like, I casually, for the first time ever, I reply that my chief concern at the moment is getting 5 revivals banked so I can master this game. And I was like, so if you want to die 5 times real quick, that'd be great. And so he immediately runs over to a poison berry bush and starts just gorging himself on the poison berries. What? which, funny enough, does not kill him. And I don't know if it's because I was maybe on normal difficulty and maybe it's more punitive to eat the poisonous shit on higher levels. I don't know. But so he doesn't die, and he's like talking to the monk. He's like, oh, I thought that would work, and like it doesn't work. So he starts running around. And another person, because everyone can hear your microphone when you talk on the walkie-talkie. Yeah. So another person runs over, and they're being super chaotic, but they like start spamming console commanding the IEDs, which are like the makeshift explosives that you can make out of like coins and battery, like some of the dumb shit you can pick up. You can make these IEDs, and he starts just blowing himself up. And when you blow up one of these things, it's a huge explosion. It like blows up a bunch of trees and like shit falls down everywhere. And this guy is just running around blowing himself up with IEDs. And I'm like, awesome. I run over and I fucking revive him, and he gets up and he spawns another one. He blows himself up again, and he does like 5 or 6 in a row. And I'm like yelling into my mic like while I'm doing it. I'm like, yeah, man, you're the fucking man. That's great. And he's just fucking blowing himself up over and over and over and over again. And I get to 5. Like I said, I thought I could have swore I was at 6. I mean, like it had been a while, man. Yeah. And he did 4. Or was that 5, 4? It like should have fucking like, I thought it should have popped. And I was like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Like I thought, like, I don't know why it didn't pop. And he's like, he just does it again. And then the Chivo popped. I'm just like, yes! I'm so fucking excited.
Victory!
So happy. Yeah, so much. You know what? I'm working with Kevin Dillon in the movie I'm doing.
Oh,
Why do
yeah?
you say that? Yeah. I'm definitely going to have to get a picture of him with Miyagi doing that or something. I don't know. We'll see. Could you please reenact the meme with Miyagi? Thank you. Anyways, so yeah, it pops. And like, here's the fucked up thing. So like, that happens. I'm super excited, of course. And like, even though I'm never playing this game again, I don't ever need to pick up this game. There's nothing to do. There's nothing to see. I'm still not gonna just turn my world off like a prick right after that happens, So I'm planning on still playing. But 5 seconds after that, literally, dude, 5 seconds, the game locks up. Like there's acid trails everywhere, and there's some guy in the microphone repeating hello like every 5 seconds. So like I think it was one of those maniac kids did something and like froze the game because I was enjoying myself, and like because he heard me on the mic like happy, he wanted to like fuck that up and like didn't in time, So that is my hypothesis. But yeah, the game froze up and I had to just turn it off, and I was like, everyone probably thinks that I just turned the game off.
Got your achievement. You're like, I'm out.
Yeah, fuck you guys, and like that really made me sad because that's not what I would have done or intended to do. But it was nonetheless a pretty funny, the most climactic way that could have happened, I guess, maybe, is that like little story flow, I think. So it was after quite a number of hours going into it, it turned into something that like actually had climax to it. And I thought that was good.
Nice.
Yeah, bummer, but great to have mastered it for sure. So then the last thing I had was Arcane H was the last one, and like it's great on it's like exactly what you were just saying about Avowed, dude. And that's what I mean. It was like it's great on so many fronts, including like I've talked about the VR climbing. It's like it would be meaningless on a flat screen, but the way they implement it in VR is fucking awesome. And there's so much verticality where you have to do it, and it's part of the problem solving system where you're like, you gotta like think like, oh fuck, I can climb up that, and like, whatever, and like it's like crazy climbing too, like you gotta like fucking go across things, and like
Nice.
Really, really intense climbing sequences. Like I told you, I've like fallen over almost. It's so disorienting, you know, but in a good way. And even with all that, it just comes down to it's an FPS on an alien world, and I just don't really care about anything happening. And like they're trying, it's like I feel bad almost because like I can feel them really trying with the story. It's not. I mean, it won like Game of the Award things last year. It's like VR Game of the Awards and shit. Wow. So or Game of the Year awards and shit. So you know, it's not like a half-assed effort and they're not even a big studio, but you can feel them trying to emulate a big studio game for sure that is going to widely be adopted and enjoyable, whatever consumable. And yeah, it's just, I don't know, man. I'm up to like 12% or something. I'm just like, it's every time I turn it on, I'm just like, I'll die in like a sword battle or something. I'm just like, oh, fuck, who cares, man? Fuck this, turn it off. You know, and it's just a bummer, man. Even though like everything is great, it should be great, but I just can't care. And that is a real bummer.
That's the worst, man.
Yeah.
I feel like I used to feel bad when I would have that feeling like, no, I got to power through it. Like I spent this money or whatever. But now it's like, there's so many more games.
There's too much shit.
There's so many games, and there's a lot of games that are similar. So it's okay to play a game and be like, I'm not feeling this. I think I'm done, you know.
That is a responsible emotional approach. We'll see. I don't know. Again, my thing is I don't have like, it's a bummer. I don't have any, I'm out of shit. There's nothing really like that Sons of Forest game I want to play. Like the fucking VR mod it just will not work right. I gave it another college try and like I got it to work, but it's like vomit, like fucking it's like fucked up, like I'm like running around and it's like the screen's not working exactly right and it's just like it's hard to get me VR queasy and I'm just like, oh god, I can't, I'm literally gonna throw up. So that is not, obviously I'm not gonna play a whole fucking game like that. And I also read in doing research about it being fucking bummed out that they're supposedly working on a native VR iteration of that. Maybe. Whether or not that's true and or they follow through on it and actually release it, who the fuck knows. But between the coupling of those two things, it's like I can't just put that on the back burner as well. So I've tabled that, and then Subnautica 2, the beta of that got delayed again, so that's not out yet either. That's obviously something I'm excited about. That'll be flat screen too. I'm guessing someone will VR the shit out of that rather quickly, and I'll hopefully be able to play that in VR. Because I mean, as badly as I want to play, like the idea of depriving myself of experiencing it in VR just because I'm impatient would be a real bummer.
I was going to say, like, would you, like, is there any hope of you dipping your toe back onto the flat screen? It's so hard.
It's, I mean, dude, how badly do you, I clearly, like, I want to play it so bad, and it will still be enjoyable because of how, at least I think, I guess I shouldn't say that for sure, given all the bullshit around that game right now, and the original developers getting ripped out of it and all that, but it'll be really hard to fuck that up and it not be cool, I think. But VR in that kind of world is just so good. That VR fucking version of Subnautica I played is so fucking good. So, whatever. Either way, it's not an option. So that's not a thing either if I want to stoop. And like the only other thing that I've even kind of like thought about is that Satisfactory game, the factory building one. So I'm kind of just waiting for that to hit a sale and then trying the VR mod of that because that's supposedly really clean. But I don't have anything, so maybe Cyberpunk is the thing.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man.
I'm sure that's got a very clean VR, or a relatively clean VR option. I think I actually did look at it. It was like, I think it's one of those. What's that guy's name? The guy that just got cooked.
I was about to say the one guy.
They sued him. Yeah, the whatever. I keep wanting to say.
Who was selling them? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he wasn't selling them. He was like taking donations.
Right. You had this.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And. Or it wasn't donations. It was like, yeah, maybe it was Patreon. I can't remember.
Yeah, you had to subscribe to his channel or you had to pay his Patreon.
Either way.
One of those.
Either way, they connected it
to get the access. Right. Which was basically the same.
And
you're profiting.
And someone finally pulled his card on it, right? So yeah, that guy probably has one for sure. But maybe there's a UEVR thing too. I don't know. We'll see. So that's it for modern stuff. Further Chivo Hunt pursuits of the retro variety. DW2 plods on with that one softcore Chivo unlocked and mocking me at every power round. Oh hum. But I'm pretty close. I've poked into the road, or what is it? Road to Roan or Cave to Roan. a few times. Like I got the Life Crest out of there. I got Erdrick's armor out of there. I think that's where that's at. And so I poked my head in, but I can't get through it yet. I'm at like 24 or 25 with my Prince of Middenhall, and I still will go in there and just get wiped. So
that's crazy.
Tediously grinding away to get up to. I need the 30 level 30 Chivo anyways, and then like I said, I was beyond that in the mid 30s when I actually beat it last time anyway. So we'll see. So that's going on, and then my N64 emulation is cooked for whatever reason, like I talked about last time. So I've turned my attention to GameCube, and that logically means starting a Mario Sunshine quest, and I've done that. I'm up to like maybe almost 30, maybe even over 30 Sunshine Sprite. 29 maybe I think is where I'm at. So essentially 1/4 of the game, which really? I had this on GameCube years ago. And did you? I mean, I probably had it at the fucking house.
So I never had a GameCube. The only time I ever played it was when we were roommates. And so I actually bought Sunshine. I think it was Sunshine and Galaxy, like in a collection, like a year or so ago when they released it, because I missed those Mario games. I was like, I missed this area of this era of Mario. So I actually was telling one of the boys last night, or no, yeah, I was telling Ezra last night. He was
I'll warn you right now, unless there's huge quality of life improvements with the camera and stuff, your kids will not be able to play that game. It's so fucking hard. It's so frustrating and hard. But
I've heard, but I want to play it. You know, like I bought it.
It's still good. Yeah. It's interesting and it's so different. I mean, just that water pack thing is just, I mean, a massive departure from typical Mario shit. So
yeah, it seems so different.
It is, but it's good though. I mean, it's, you know, if you don't, whatever, if you're not like some sort of fucking Mario purist or something that needs to not have that kind of additive, I think it's enjoyable.
Trust me.
If it were not Mario, you know, I think it would just be a great game. You know, you wouldn't even think about that. So it's, yeah, I mean, hard, but great. Yeah, there's like these, there's like this one type of whatever level or challenge, like every one of the little worlds that you go into off the hub will have like one, I think maybe even some of them have two of these fucking things, and they're like, I don't know how to describe them. I'm trying to think there's another Mario, something that you could equate them to. But they're essentially like, they happen in these like white space vacuums where it's a lot of like wild ass platforming with like things that are moving that are timing based and stuff. Mm-hmm. And it's all just about like movement and not battling anything, you know? And oh my God, they are hard and frustrating. And like, there was this one I was stuck on. I had to turn the thing off like 2 times. I actually just beat it the other night, finally. And I did it once after turning it back on for that time. And I was like, I died again. And I was like, God damn it, man. Like, what the fuck? And I looked up like a video. Like, am I doing something dumb? Like, what's the problem? And I looked up the video on YouTube and I was reading the comments. And it's just like, shit show. Just like an absolute shit show of like people saying like, this ruined my life. This level is like, and it's like, dude, it's not, like I said, I'm not even a quarter into the game. Like it's not like some advanced stage thing. It's like super early in the game and it's like goddamn near impossible. And I beat it in like a time or two after that. Or a try or two after that, so I did get it done, but it was hard as shit. So yeah, those things are like really fucking frustrating, and yeah, there's some mechanics about it that are just a little goofy, and it's mostly 3D camera based shit that like it just wasn't good yet, you know, even though that's how I feel about even Mario 64. Like I feel like all of that is just like, oh man. Honestly though, Mario 6, I think. Because Mario 64 has a ton of that as a problem for it. The camera is a problem for it in that game. But what is asked of you is also simpler. So I think the rub of what's asked of you versus the camera's aptitude in this, it's a higher friction and bigger variance thing that it can be very frustrating. And I have gotten very pissed off playing this. But sticking with it, and I'm hoping to. I mean, there's no chance I'll master it. Some of the, again, like with all those Mario games, you look at the Chivos and there's fucking, I'm not fucking doing that. That's fucking asinine. But just a basic playthrough of it, kind of like I did with Zelda, like just hitting the story beats for those Chivos. Well, I'll get through it for that. And I also started Metroid Prime as the other one, and this is supposedly the best game on the system. according to Metacritic. I had this too, and like, dude, I played it, and I mean, I wasn't even on the tutorial, and I was like, I've never seen any of this before, I don't think. So, I mean, I remember not really playing it for sure, but I can't believe, maybe I just forgot, and I did get at least this far, but like, yeah, I mean, even before I left the tutorial, I was like, I have never seen this in my life. Like, how did I have this game, and I didn't even make it out of the tutorial? So, I don't know. And like, maybe that's right. Maybe it is the best game in the system. I don't know. It is good. It's a little goofy, and there's, again, some like a same thing. Camera shit's weird.
That might have been just a time of life. You had other stuff going on. It's like, right. I got this game, but I can't really play it, you know?
Yeah, there's a bunch of, I mean, that, like, Eternal Darkness is a game on that system that I also had, and, like, I remember getting into that, though, because the story in that was so good. Yeah. Even for my dumb, idiot, alcohol-saturated college brain, I thought that was good. So, but I know I didn't finish it. Same thing. And like, yeah, I just didn't. Resident Evil 0, same thing. That was also that was technical difficulties. I believe the one disc didn't work, but whatever. I had a bunch of games in that system that I did not really. All I really played was Madden and Animal Crossing. Was ultimately what I did on that system. I remember I had Smash Brothers. I never really played that. Like, I had a bunch of games that I bought that I never really got into on that system. But yeah, those are the two. Obviously some of the greatest hits that I'm hitting. I probably, I guess, try playing that fucking Zelda on there too. Eventually, maybe we'll see. But cool. So that's what I'm doing on that front. And then the last thing's X-Men Quest. Like I told you in our email chain, I basically I was right before Fatal Attractions on the last episode, right. And then I got through that, and then turned my attention to catching up on Wolverine because I had to find 75 for Fatal Attractions, and that got me, found a solution for the rest of the issues too, so I started reading that. But yeah, the big thing with Fatal Attractions, dude, like in my memory, that was all about Wolverine losing his adamantium.
Yes, because that was the most impactful thing outside of it leading up to Onslaught, at least for me.
I don't even know what that is, so we'll see. But
you don't know. Okay.
The big thing about Fatal Attractions for me was reading all, I never read the Excalibur issue of it. The only ones I had, I think Jab had X-Force. I was able to read that one. Or sorry, X-Factor. Mm-hmm. Which really barely even dealt with the Magneto. Like that was interesting too. Like some of those hologram covered Fatal Attraction issues they were like kind of still siloed things happening. They were not. It was I expected it to be like this really heavy one. You just have to bounce 1-to-1, and it's like just this one story happening. And it was not like that at all. It was still very siloed, and that was kind of annoying, I thought. And I didn't even really like. I ended up kind of skimming the Excalibur and the X-Force ones because they were, again, just not really part of what was interesting in that story. Because and the most interesting thing in that story, or the most, I don't know if it's the most interesting, I still probably think Wolverine loses adamantium was more interesting, but the thing that it was more about to me in hindsight, now having read it like this, was Colossus turncoating, which I didn't remember, and like the focus on it, that was what it was really about. Again, I was talking about how I could tell he was going to break bad, you could see it coming, but that was really interesting that he just like went up there with him and like, okay, now he's an acolyte entirely. He's off X-Men. And then he ends up anyways still kind of helping them in the end. And he's kind of the crux to them getting out of that,
Yeah, man.
Still alive, basically. And yeah, that was really interesting that the Wolverine losing to adamantium was not as much the focal point as in my childhood memory it was.
This was interesting to me because there's so much going on here. Like from a fan standpoint, I remember like the acolytes. There was like an art contest that was going on when I was whatever age I was when this came out, and I remember drawing a picture of Fabian Cortez acolyte like floating above like on asteroid M because I love this storyline so much. Just like everything going on with Magneto and like to your point, Colossus, like come on, Colossus can't be a bad guy, but like you kind of understand where he's coming from, so it's
he explains
so
himself
much happening.
very, very explicitly. So.
Oh yeah. There's so much going on there, and it sets up so much in the future, especially if you haven't got to what Onslaught is and where he comes from. And so there's just this is very much some of my favorite storylines happening because you don't know, like, first of all, what's going to happen with Wolverine, is he going to like? How is he going to get past this? Is he going to die now? Like,
well, yeah,
what's happened to Magneto? He has no. His mind is
because 75 is when they go back, and he's like, I think it's the last kind of step of this, and I remember the image, but I didn't remember. I thought it was a little further down the line when he kind of had bailed out on his own after that. But he's in the danger room and he pops his claws for the first time, and they're just bone. Boom. Like, obviously the reveal of that is like, what?
Exactly.
What? Yeah. So yeah, I mean that huge still, of course. So yeah. Yeah, that's yeah. So yeah, I mean, so I went back to I read up to 20 was on Internet Archive, right, on the Wolverine book. So I started right at 21, and I mean maybe the most interesting thing about that is that going back to like 89 or 90 or something in the X-Men fucking timeline was wild, because that, if you recall, or not if you recall, but if clearly you recall, we talked about it, wasn't that long ago, that like, you know, it was just like a dead space in the story. Like, it was lame. The stories were fucking lame, and like that shit's still going on in the periphery of these issues, you know. And because the reason he's in Madripoor in the 20s is because X-Men are dead in Australia. And like, that's just such a lame part of, you know, it's funny too. I don't know what I was watching, I don't remember where it came from, but I was watching or listening to something and they were talking about, it was Jeremy Parish just did the LJN X-Men on NES. He just did the NES Works episode on that, which he, of course, fucking destroyed it because it was horrible. But he was talking a lot about how it wasn't necessarily congruent with the actual comics at the time. It was more in line with that Pride of the X-Men animated precursor to the Saturday morning cartoon that they made. That was like the Kitty Pryde thing. And that was like an amalgamation / not really what was going on in the comics. It was just kind of an adaptation of sorts. And the video game was more in line with that than anything that was actually happening at the comics at the time, and yada, yada, yada. But he was saying, he basically said echoed kind of what we're talking about here, was that like the whole X-Men dead in Australia thing, which annoyed the shit out of me the whole time it was going on. He was basically ripping it a new asshole and saying how Marvel was like in the shitter at the time. And the only thing really keeping the company afloat then was the license books that they were doing for Hasbro and shit, G.I. Joe and all the toy line ones, Transformers and all that shit, was how they were making their money, because all these storylines sucked. And until that new infusion of talent came in with Chris, what's his name, and all basically, right, until that came in, they were just withering on the vine, basically, as a company. And that makes total sense, because I was so bored in most of the 80s with the X-Men.
It's true.
You know?
It's true. I remember reading those and more back issues and like getting caught up, but then like from here on, like the stakes just get higher. Like stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah,
exactly. That's why, like, yes, the Colossus things happened, but in my mind, I think about the Wolverine thing, but then I think about, but then because of that, Professor X does this to Magneto, and then that does this coming on the, so it's just like the stakes get higher and higher. So they've learned from their mistakes of the
just obviously have the difference between a good writer and a bad writer. I look at it, I see it all the time at work. It read the foundation for everything. If it's bad there, the rest is going to suck too. And like people know it, and like they just like kind of whatever. That's honestly a fucking tangent. I'm going to get into that, but yeah. So I'm basically up to 35, and like other than the significance of remembering how shitty this era was, it's like kind of magnified here in the Wolverine book, because they're not even it's just like random drug czars. They're not even characters. They're just like random ass drug czars and thugs that he's dealing with. And that Tigra shit, the woman that is like the convert, now the drug lord. It's super, just a really boring. Yeah, very, very boring. I got up to 35, and just here in 35, Lady Deathstrike shows up. And that, I was like, ooh, she's interesting. That's Weapon X shit. That is like an interesting character, particularly in relation to Wolverine. So hoping it starts to uptick a little bit as far. Yeah, I mean, like the thing, the analogy I had for all the, it's like the Saturday morning WWF no-name wrestlers. It's those people. It's just, they're just there to get murked by the handful of people you actually know to get us through this episode. Yeah, or issue in this case, exactly. It's really all these characters are. So yeah, that sucks obviously. But hopefully on the uptick on that too, and then I can maybe pick up the pace with this and get me back to the rest of the thing, or the where I'm at with Uncanny, and yeah, I look forward to seeing obviously what comes out of Fatal Attractions, because I think that's kind of where I read that. I don't know why, like clearly it's like this epic moment in my comics.
But you had to have stopped. You had to have stopped after that.
Right, exactly, right.
Like if you don't know what Onslaught is, like how did you not? How do you not? If you were continuing to read.
I kind of I think I collected through the Phalanx convent, which that's coming up.
Phalanx?
Yeah. So I think that is only maybe 10 issues up or something. So I was still collecting, but I don't really remember the storyline for that. Okay. But Onslaught doesn't even sound familiar. So I don't know. I mean, my best guess is that, I mean, like I said, that we're talking, I'm like 12 or 13 here. And I think I just kind of, started smoking weed and doing other shit. I think it's really what the main reason that my comic shit fell off. It wasn't like, oh, I'm bored now. It's just like I'm other priorities,
Oh yeah, that's fair. Meanwhile, I'm just like Onslaught, Phalanx Covenant. Next, I was about to say New Mutants. What are they called? Next Gen, Generation X.
Before
Generation X.
Onslaught, is that before Phalanx?
Onslaught is next. Like it.
Really?
It may in my mind, it's next. It actually may take longer because I don't remember how quickly that happens.
Yeah, maybe I did. Maybe I did read it, and I just didn't clock that was the name or whatever.
Yeah, but
we shall see.
Hole number 1 from our random course flyby tune.
Well, it's not even horse, but hole number. Yeah, it's just one of the flyby tunes. Yeah,
it repeats
Well, yeah. There's maybe 4, maybe something like that it'll just cycle through. I don't know if it's random or if it's in some determined order, but we don't actually know a number for sure. That's just in my playthrough video that I sent you. It's number 1 or hole number 1. That is not going to be universal. I doubt anyways. I guess maybe. Well, welcome to PGA Tour Golf, the only game that lets you play against the tour's most competitive pros on some of the finest golf courses in the world. It's you against a choice field of 60 PGA Tour professionals. And on any given day, you could win it all. I doubt it, but you could. The exciting action of PGA Tour Golf will challenge your skills and mental toughness. Just like your favorite tour players, you'll need to size up and execute special shots from a variety of lies, overcome the pressure of a win-it-all putt from the fringe, and defend your hard-earned reputation as a master of coordination, touch, and power. Like the real tour, this game demands your best efforts. Only then can you make it to the top of the leaderboard. After a handful of highly specific tour scenarios, we get our takeaway blurb here at the end of this, and it reads, "These are just a few of the challenges you'll face in PGA Tour Golf. You're about to experience everything offered by the real game except the dirt from a divot and an unexpected cloudburst. If you're ready for great action, let's get down to the pro shop." Jay, what is PGA Tour Golf about?
Well, Josh, some would say it's an American golf game, and that is one way to look at this. The skin.
I would call it a hellscape.
Yeah, the skin on top of it is American golf, but at the end of the day, you're just aiming and trying to line up. You're just trying to line up one dot with 2 different dots the whole time.
Yeah. What is the?
Gosh. What do we even?
What
call
is
that?
Yeah, exactly. It's like there's probably a seed game in there in the history, like some Atari game that you could boil this down.
Some kind of target practice.
Right, exactly. Right.
It's
That's a very, very good point. That really the only game in it is that. You do need to. Yeah, you know what it's like. I think maybe I was just listening. There was an episode on the Video Game History Foundation podcast. I think it was, or maybe it was fucking Retro Retronauts, but they were talking, I think it was Retronauts, they were talking about basic programming, and one of the guys on there was saying that his like inroad to it was QBasic, which was a DOS program that came with a couple of games, one of which was Gorillas, which was, it's one of those trajectory games that like you pick the angle and the power, and then you just kind of lob bananas back and forth trying to kill the other gorilla. And it's kind of that. It's kind of one of those where you like...
So a la Angry Birds, same thing, but somehow, built off the same...
Right.
Architecture.
You had the variable. I think they had, that has wind in it also, is like the random variable, and that's exactly what this has too. So it's like that same system with one random variable that you kind of got to be able to spitball and like, just roll with. But for the most part, it's just, yes, this really simple little 2 variable thing. Yeah, that's really great point.
Which is fine. Not exactly what I want to do after a long day's work. Like, all right, focus time.
Well, I mean, I'm fine doing that. I just think, and we'll get in. We'll of course get into more of it, but this is too ambitious. They weren't maybe the core sin is an inability to, at least to me, maybe, I don't know, maybe we're just bad at it, and you play, clearly if you play it more, you learn whatever it's like any.
You just get used to it over and over and over repetition.
It's like, it's just like the same things in Madden. Like you just like learn what the hacks are, and then you are able to exploit them. It's not, it's not that maybe the information's not there. It's just we haven't been able to interpret it at the amount of experience we have with the systems, is probably the thing. But that also stems from just the simple fact of like the intuitive ability, or the ability to intuitively interpret the information it's presenting to you and how that might affect what you were trying to do. And then there is the random variance of you having to stop the thing, and like you might not be as timed out as you would prefer or hope or aspire to. So there's that too, the randomness of it. But yeah, I just think that there are situations where the wind isn't seemingly consistent, its effect. You don't have enough of an idea on how, or I didn't, on how a bad lie might affect what you're doing, and I didn't feel like it was consistent either. Yeah. Even if like 2 situations where I was both in the half buried in the deep rough is that one very special
one time lie. I'm going in and it's no problem. The other time it's like I could barely hit the ball. Like how is that?
Right, exactly. Which the person that designed the game will tell you like that's how golf is. You don't have, it's not a dependable like 53. Like, it's not like, it doesn't like, it's not some like constant digit that affects your, whatever the outcome of the shot.
Math. It's all supposed to be math equations. If I hit 53 at 75%, give me that number. Give me a 46, whatever it is.
That's definitely what you want, and this game definitely doesn't give it to you. So yeah, 100%. We will discuss more on that topic and many others later in the episode here. But for now, let's first talk about its release, which was April 91 in the US, and then Europe got it in May. So came out here first. On the Billboard Top 100 front for April 91, we got, the first, of April 91, we have Bryan Adams' Everything I Do It For You. And that is the Robin Hood soundtrack, Jay. And definitely recorded this video on a VHS cassette mixtape music video compilation I crafted over the course of years of sporadic access to cable TV enabled situations. So I had this video of music, this VHS cassette that I would go around when I was going somewhere I knew had cable. I would bring this with me. This is mind blowing to me to have remembered. Like I had this video cassette that I would take around with me if I was going to stay at someone's house or whatever the situation would have been, where I knew I was going to have access to cable television because I didn't have it at home. I would bring this video or this cassette and I would leave it loaded up in the VCR, ready to quait up to fucking record. And when a video came on that I didn't have that I wanted, I would hit fucking record. So most of them were missing like the first 7 seconds of the song. You're like, oh, it's on. Right, yeah. Yeah, so this was definitely one of those songs that was on that video. I am certain of it. So
that's so funny.
That was going on the Billboard Top 100. And then the box office #1 situation. The top grosser for April is Steven Seagal flick Out for Justice, which I vividly remember watching that on a rental my dad scored, and he loved Seagal shit, just any of it. The one on the boat with Tommy Lee Jones, what the fuck was that called? Shit.
With Tommy Lee Jones?
Yeah. Under Siege. Under Siege. He was. Yeah. I remember watching that with him. The Hard to Kill was like the same movie as Out for Justice. I also remember watching that with my dad. He was all over Seagal shit. He fucking loves Steven Seagal shit, which is hilarious. It's so on brand for my fucking dad.
Seagal.
On the artwork front, with the cover art, we're dealing with the heyday of early EA Genesis packaging here, and I could just like stare at the box cover indefinitely. I love this box cover style. I had a bunch of these games, and I just something about them is just so, I don't know, ubiquitous with that era of gaming for me, and I just fucking love them. I can't even describe. I couldn't possibly describe one to you.
Yeah.
But everyone knows I'm talking
visually,
about.
It's like,
and,
oh yeah.
Yeah. And I just, this is great. Good. That's how I would describe it. Very good. So that's cool. The cover centerpiece is a live action photo of a golfer sand wedging his way out of a sand trap. It's the same thing on the title screen that's behind me right now. All right, that's a digitized version of it anyways. And I don't know if it's a deliberate decision to make the golfer indiscernible or if it's just a pixelated fucking photo from 1991. But you can't really see the golfer's face between the sand flying up in front of it and coupled with the shadow coming from behind, being
it's got to be purposeful. I think it's got to be purposeful. It's like, oh, look at that. Like, we got a golfer. You can't tell who it is. It's you.
Right, we don't have to,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we don't have to pay a golfer for being the prime key art person. Yeah, they certainly paid for the golfers in the game, but if you had to put one of them here, they probably would have wanted more money. So to me, it's a financial decision for sure. There are 6 golfers with pixelated headshots surrounding the photo, each captioned with just a last name. We got Stadler, McCumber, Sindelaire, Couples, Mize, and Letsky. Couples is Fred Couples.
That's the only name I know of out of all of those.
Precisely.
Or
Same.
recognize.
Right. So I don't know. I guess I didn't look up his career, but he must have been gangbusters because I actually knew him even though I had no attention to golf at all.
Exactly.
So. That's the 6 on the front. There's a little badge of honor that reads Battery Backup to the left of the title treatment and the PGA Tour logo. They are sure to explain below the red oval that this is to save tournaments and stats. Dynamite. We will talk stats later. They're going to be fun, I think. On the back, we have 4 screenshots showing off the glistening play view, as well as a top-down course map and the putting green view that depicts the topography of the green. There are 4 more golfers' headshots back here, and they have full names in this case. I don't know why that is different, but we have Fuzzy Zoller, which is my favorite name of all of them. Paul Azinger, Mark O'Meara. I kind of remember that one too, Mark O'Meara.
Fuzzy Zoller, I remember that name.
Really? Even as distinct as it is.
I feel like he was talking shit to Tiger Woods or something like that. Like at one point, I just remember that name because it stands out. Like because that's a weird name. Who's named Fuzzy in real life?
My dad had a friend named Fuzzy. Jam and I have talked about him. He's one of the more interesting people in our lives.
The fuck out.
Well, his real name wasn't Fuzzy, of course.
Right, but still, that's
that was his nickname for sure. We called him fucking, or everyone called that was. I mean, dude, I don't even know what his real name is. I honestly don't.
That's great.
He was Fuzzy to everyone at all times. He was never called anything else. And I don't even know what his name is. Yeah, he's awesome. There. Jab and I have definitely told Fuzzy stories on Cyclist episodes and shit in the past. Was a funny ass dude. And then the last one is Tommy Armour the Third, which is a very golf name, of course, with the Roman numerals involved. So the only golfer I would have known in 1991, even Fred Couples, like, yes, maybe that's familiar, but I think it's only familiar to me now. I think
at the time,
if you'd asked me in 1991, I don't know who that is. So the only one I knew in 1991 was Payne Stewart, because he had a pretty sought after at the time insert card in the 1990 Pro Set football card set. And the reason that was the case was because he wore NFL licensed gear at all the matches or whatever the fuck they're called. And
interesting.
I think the NFL paid him to do that. And this was part of the licensing tie-in, was he got a card in the 1990 Pro Set set, which Pro Set was essentially like an NFL product, I think. Makes perfect sense. So yeah, I wrote that note down, and then I thought, why don't I Google Payne Stewart? I don't know anything about Payne Stewart other than he's in that fucking card set and that he wore NFL shit. So he was indeed sponsored by the NFL up until 1995. And yeah, that's why he wore the apparel. And I guess just generally speaking, the reason he was probably selected for that was because even prior to the NFL jumping on board with this, he was known for dressing like in a rather peacocked out manner. Like, he wore like a lot of like the really classic golfer look thing, even though that wasn't popular anymore. Like the ivy caps, the patterned pants.
Oh, really?
You know,
okay.
Yeah, like the really, really classic golfer look that, you know, everyone kind of knows, even though it's been long
just out
gone
there
the way of the dodo.
Okay.
Right. So yeah, that was his deal, and he was just known for kind of being, a brash by the golf standards anyways, dresser. So he died in a plane crash in 1999 at the age of 42.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, so I can't even... I read that and I was just thinking, I was like, I cannot fucking believe that rich people are just willingly fly around in these Buddy Holly fuck planes. Like, it was one of those. It's just fuck crash. Like,
no.
I was reading yesterday, that Blue Origin is no longer doing commercial flights, which was one of the
They're not?
Yeah,
Why?
Blue Origin stock. If you hadn't done that already, Blue Origin
definitely
stock.
did not.
Yeah, exactly. I got rid of my Virgin Galactic long ago. But they're not doing that, and it lists in that article or that Twitter headline. I didn't read the article, but in that Twitter headline, it listed some of the people that had flown on Katy Perry and
right. Yeah, I remember watching all that. Nonsense.
The Amazon dude and all that, and I was just like if I was a billionaire or even a millionaire, guess what? Everyone's coming to me. I'm not getting on a plane to go anywhere. Like, you have to come here, fuckface. That's the deal. Like, why do rich people want to get on Buddy Holly fuck things and risk dying? Like, what is the impetus there? That, because I have this much money, I can get on lesser fucking versions of this mode of travel and, whatever. It blows my mind that, so many people have died in planes like that. It's like, you would never get me on a plane. That's just a fucking little biplane thing. Are you out of your fucking mind? Are you a moron with some dipshit that is probably comparatively a half-assed pilot? That's why he has to fly these things and not a real fucking plane. You know what I mean? Get the fuck out of here. Who is the dipshit? I can't believe it. This blows my mind. It's the stupidest fucking thing. You would never in a million years. I better never have $1 million because guess what? I'm done going places. I'm already done going places, and I don't have $1 million. I just can't believe people get on these planes. It's fucking crazy. That's how he died. That's
unfortunate. I hear what you're saying, though, man. I remember, traveling so much throughout my career and having to just...
I've flown a billion times. I hate it more every single time.
Same. But the worst was whenever there was this small connection and you're on the smallest where there's one seat on one side, two on the other, and that is to me already this is the limit. This is the limit of my safety feel. It's this is already everything's all you can't.
Yeah, that'll often happen to me. And I guess maybe if I knew what they fuck those numbers and letters were, when you book your flight, it tells you what the plane is. But those letters and numbers mean nothing to me, like a Boeing fucking jerk-off J-42.
Typically, though, those are in situations where you have no
Yeah.
choice, where I'm coming from, Charlottesville to Columbus, and it's all
Right.
we have is this small, this is what
Well,
we have.
sure. If you, I'm not saying that's not the case. I'm simply saying it is disclosed. What I was going to say was, it's not, you don't, I almost said, I should say that, you're on a connection flight and okay, I get to fucking, some bumblefuck place. That'll happen to me a lot when I'm going to the more obscure film festivals is often where that happens. I don't necessarily have to go many places for work. Well, that's not true. I go fucking stupid places for work too, to shoot the things as well. But whatever the case, I feel like it happens to me more on film festivals when I'm going to no offense to the fucking Julian Dubuque Film Festival in Iowa. It's a great festival, but you're flying on one of those planes if that happens. And it doesn't occur to me to check what that is in advance. And you walk down the fucking tarmac and you walk in the plane. You're like,
oh.
And my impetus is just to run back off. That's my fucking, I'm going to spend the next 2 hours and 37 minutes just my seat the whole time internally.
I see that and I'm just I immediately just bow my head dear God in heaven. I know we haven't talked as much as I should have lately.
Man. Fuck flying. But why would you get on one of those little dumb planes? That's really fucking crazy. That's too, I credit to, that's a Lewis Black joke. Buddy Holly fuck plane is, I'm not claiming ownership of that joke. That's Lewis Black, a fantastic comedian. Anyways, the manual, they are not leaving you hanging at all with this. It's 70 goddamn pages.
Too long, man. Come on.
No. There's, like I said, it's not all required reading to play the game for sure. I like the fact that they had the history lesson is interesting. We're going to talk about that later. I didn't know any of that shit, and I was even not caring about golf. That was interesting to me to read kind of the origin of the PGA Tour. So that's in here, and I get that. And then they're obviously got a profile of the licensed fucking things, the courses and the golfers. So that's 20 pages of fluff you don't have to read.
Yeah, I was dude.
And the strategy guide is super helpful. If you didn't read that, you would have been really fucked, I think. So That is a very good 13 pages or whatever it is. So I don't have any shit to talk about 70 pages. To me, good choice.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
They open with a little profile on the founders of Sterling Software, Lee Actor and Dennis Coble. And this is inclusive of a photo of them on a golf course. And they very much look like the 1991 software developer types. That's what I would say about those dudes. They are exactly who you'd think they would be. And the controls breakdown on pages 2-3 are communicated in a grid format. Just to provide a glimpse, I guess, of the depth of this game's intricate control of your golfing experience. You know, there's they can't just tell you A button does this, B button does this. There's all these different scenarios where the button uses change and shit. So if we've seen it at all, it's not commonplace for sure, I guess, to communicate controls in an instruction manual. So that's interesting. And then the starting PGA Tour Golf flow chart on page 5 made me chuckle. This is a bullet pointed list that starts all the way back at turning your Genesis off. Not even, it doesn't even start at turn your Genesis on with the game card in. It's telling you to turn it off from what you're doing with it before and make sure it's off because you never want to insert a cart while your Genesis is already powered on, even though there's a bunch of little hacks you can do doing that, that we've seen at various times in SWAT and whatever the Visions tips and tactics deal is in that magazine. But yeah, it just made me chuckle. Pages 6 to 7 get into the menu system and the different approaches to playing the game. The menu is presented in a hub model under the guides of the Pro Shop, the thing behind you right now, where drop-down menus kind of hark back to this game's PC-DOS port roots, basically. Yep. And then there's a solid 12 pages that lay out the various play systems: driving, off-green shots, post-tee, putting, special shots, chipping, punch shots, fringe putting, club distance expectations, etc. And this is much of what we'll be talking about in the gameplay section, but it's notable to say this is all very well presented and explained here. I thought, again, kind of, even having played a ton of golf games, looking at this game through the podcast, again, check every dark corner of it, and thinking about, am I confused about anything here? And, I feel like they left no stone unturned, I guess is my point. So, again, because this is the reason we're doing this game right now, Jay, or we picked this game, was because of its historic stepping stone nature in the golf game lineage, being the first 16-bit iteration of any significance that I know of or that we found. So, figuring out whether they had even kind of thought about this stuff and, we're trying to do a good job to communicate this new game environment, model, format, whatever, was part of the plan. So I feel like the point being, they very much did that. The last thing they explained here, though, is... Sorry.
No, I was going to agree. It's a lot. There's so much here. To your point, they do make it so that if you are a golfer, if you like golf, if you watch golf, this is going to be... I assume it would be what it would feel like to look at, the first true quality NBA game and just right. All the details I could want, you know what I mean, kind of a thing. So from that standpoint, fair enough, even though it's just so much about golf.
I don't care about golf specifically.
Yeah, but yeah. But you're not leaving here with questions about how do I play this game, you know?
Or how are they trying to capture the systems of real golf, which that's kind of maybe the point, is that this is why EA crushed it with sports games in this era, is because they were really trying to simulate, and they did everything they could within the framework of these 16-bit systems, SNES 2, to capture all that. And this is, I think, as much as we'll bitch about things in this game, and they didn't quite get there with this installment, I very much can see and almost guarantee, which based on what I've read for the second and third iterations of this, they got there. I can see them having made the effort here, and after getting some feedback, being able to nail it. You know what I mean? So that, to me, is present here, even in all its shortcomings. The very last thing here, though, is they explain the instant replay function too, which is an optional thing to engage for any shot, but it's pointed out that spectacular shots are auto-replayed. And I just loved, I read that and I thought to myself, I love the idea of a 1991 CPU AI determining my content feed, basically what I'm going to watch and what it thinks is spectacular. And it's funny too, because I had this thought then, and I had a moment, I posted it, where on my, like, towards the end of my play, I have this fucking drive that I just absolutely fucked up. Like, it was horrific. It was like one of those ones that, like, just go straight out to the side, like, absolute, just terrible drive. It even thunks off a fucking tree. And, like, it just auto showed me that replay. And I was like, you trolling motherfuckers. Like, that is,
That's great.
That is, yeah, like, where in your algorithm did that register as a spectacular shot? Like, it just, that had to be a deliberately fuck you thing. Like, that was so bad. Let's go viral with it.
It's funny. I did not expect you to take it that route because I was impressed when it would happen, but obviously for me it happened so infrequently. Maybe like 3.
Yeah, no, it did plenty of good jobs.
Times.
Showing spectacular.
But
shots,
like when it did happen, it was kind of just like I wasn't expecting it. So all of a sudden, like I'd be lined up and swinging again. I'm like, wait, I'm not pressing it. What happened? I'm like, they're instant replay.
They have the little trails. You learn the little trails mean instantly, right? Yeah, it's also flashes in the top left corner, tells you too, but you got to look for that and know it's there to be looking for it. Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, I remember, dude, I think it was in 92, Madden, I remember, like, that being like, oh, that is so fucking cool. That, like, you could just instant replay, and, like, and when you could first, I don't know if that was present, I think it was, where you could, like, spin the camera and, like, look at it.
That was next level, like, whoa.
Yeah, that was, like, so fucking cool, and then when they started, like, they even introduced the fucking pass interference thing. You could, like, or there was, what was it, challenging? I can't remember what it was. I think I feel like challenging came later than that, but I don't think so. Maybe it was later in the 90s when I can't remember. But I remember thinking, like, and, like, having that be part of it too, where, like, you could go review and, like, that's how you challenge, like, going to review and, like, no, that's not right. And it's like, what do you mean it's not right? It's the fucking game code. Like, it knows whether it's whatever, check the box or not. Like, it's hilarious thing to add that to that, but whatever. Yeah, instant replay was a very cool addition, and having it here was good and pretty well implemented. Pages 21 to 22 explain how tournament play works. It is a 4-round engagement, each with a performance bar cutoff as you move from one round to the next. So you have to be in the top 48 to make the first cut for round 2, and then the top 32 moving forward to get to rounds 3 and 4. Which doesn't make sense now that I say that out loud, because if you cut down to 32 on the going into round 3, how could you possibly fall out of the top 32 for round 4? So that's moot, I think, but whatever.
They just keep you after that? I don't know.
I guess, yeah, I don't know. But I mean, there's not enough players, is what I mean. There's no... You can't.
I don't know.
Once you go to 32, there's no longer more than 32, unless what guys show up, I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Like, everybody stays, like, at that point. I don't know.
Right, but then why did they say that?
Very weird.
Yeah. And then the other big thing is they take mulligans out of tournament play. And I was taught what a mulligan was by Golf Games at a relatively young age. Probably Lynx LS, like I've talked about on PC, being a big golf, whatever, focus of mine for a little while in the, would have been early to mid 90s probably. But I've never thought to look up where it comes from or what it means. So walk with me, Lord Disciples. I did that for our golfing ISOH episode experience here. The most popular story of legend suggests it likely originated in the 1920s to 30s, which, after reading the history lesson, is kind of where just golf in general as a U.S. phenomenon kind of comes from. Right, exactly, right. So Canadian golfer David Bernard Mulligan, who spontaneously took a second shot after a poor drive, calling it a correction shot, which all of his friends shortened to a mulligan. So it's like, just like one of your full of shit friends.
Right. Yeah. Or we're pulling a Folan today. Or...
Yeah, right. Exactly what that is. Which I love that. That to me also sounds like the most logical thing, because clearly, especially before this was like a formally
accepted thing. Yeah.
Well, not even mulligans. I just mean golf being like this kind of monetizable professional sport. It's just dudes on a golf course. And that's very much what it is, that in a non-professional way now too. It's guys being guys out on a golf course together, beer tub girls, dick jokes, blah, blah, blah. And like that it just types into that perfectly. So that to me sounds like the most logical thing. And awesome. The internet kind of supported that, saying that's the primary theory for this. But there's the secondary alternative theory, cites a locker room attendant or caddy, same thing, I guess, in their view, at Essex Fells CC what's country club probably, in the 1930s, and a guy named Buddy Mulligan sometimes filled in as a player, like when they didn't have a foursome would be my guess, or however that works. They needed another player for whatever reason. They would bring this fucking guy out. Everyone liked him or whatever. And he was allowed extra shots because he wouldn't have warmed up and, wasn't one of the whatever.
That sounds more likely, but I like the first story.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah, both probably very likely. But yeah, the first story is way more fun, for sure. So pages 26 and 27 cover the player creation feature. And you can create up to 22 different players whose career performances, stats, earnings, etc. is saved across all tournament play. And that, for the time, means you could have done some pretty dope esports gaming shit with this game, some real office pool type shit. 22 players is a lot of players, Yeah. So you could have, made your foursomes and went out and did a whole bracket things and just that being possible and then saving your stats across it, no less, would have been really cool probably at the time if you were very much a golf head.
Yeah.
So that was a nice feature to include. And then the strategy guide is pages 33 to 42. A ton of intricacies in there we'll revisit in gameplay as well. And then there's a 3-page history lesson about the PGA Tour spanning 43 to 45. And it is adapted from the 1991 PGA Tour Media Guide. And kind of the major story plot points here. New Year's Day of 1898 is said to have been the very first official recordation of professional golf. They played 36 holes of stroke play at Ocean County Hunt and Country Club in Lakewood, New Jersey. And the total purse for that was $150. And the reason this became known even was because the NY Times went out and covered the event. And then not long thereafter, events like this started popping up all over the country because obviously the NY Times gets circulated everywhere. So that is how it came to be as a deal, basically. And the movement would grow and kind of gain continuity between what started as totally unaffiliated events and kind of became a centralized deal in the early 1920s. And that is what is now recognized as the PGA Tour. A couple of facts and figures, number of events, total purses, etc. To put a button on the history lesson here. And then the book winds down by profiling its name brand licensees, the 10 PGA golfers depicted on the box cover, and 3 specific courses and the tournaments played at them. There is the Players Championship, played at the Tournament Players Club at Sawgrass, Ponte Verde, Florida. There is the Kemper Open, played at the TPC at Avenel, Potomac, Maryland. And then the TPC PGA West at the Stadium Course at PGA West in La Quinta, California. Is that where the fucking shitty hotel comes from? Is that where that started? Then there is the Sterling Shores course that you can play in the game. And it's not profiled here because it is, interestingly, not a real course. It's a fictional course they made purely for the video game. So
I wonder why do you think they did that? They think
because they had to pay for
courses weren't enough?
I guess. And they they probably, honestly, my guess is those were probably, I should have checked actually because it'd be kind of interesting to know whether or not all those, or if any, maybe were present in the original iteration of the game, because they could have added those for the console ports or later ports and not been in the original DOS game or whatever it would have originally been released on, because they had to earn some dough and make sure this was actually a monetizable thing before they're going to start paying for licenses to courses for that. You know what I mean? So my guess is that it was a slow burn edition, and they probably had that in the coffer already, that course made. Just honestly, it's part of the development thing. They wouldn't have assumed during the development that they were going to get individual courses. I would guess. I highly doubt they did the smart legwork of securing all those licenses before development even started for the game. You know what I mean? Back then, that's probably not how it worked. So that's fair. The back cover is a fold-out 2-banger ad from, or rather 4 more EA titles in their Get Real advert campaign. And this was in mags in the first half of 91. I remember seeing this a lot with some of the Game Pros and shit. And it's titled up top, Unending Excitement. And they have Road Rash, Blockout, Zany Golf, Lakers versus Celtics, John Madden Football, and James Pond. And yeah, I very, very much remember seeing this exact thing in the back of my early EA games that I had. Fairy Tale was one, and it's so bad. We'll never talk about it for an RPG side quest, actually. But it is something that even as bad as it was, I have it was one of like maybe my first 3 games on the Genesis. I bought it used, and yeah, it's just a game that sticks out in my memory as something I remember, even though it was terrible. But this was in the back of that, and then it was also in the back of Madden 92 as well. And that was, in that case, it was under the EASN banner, and that's what they got sued by ESPN for. They had to stop doing that EASN shit and like their little score breaks in the games and stuff because ESPN sued them. So yeah, I remember seeing that a lot. Notable history. And Game Genie codes that didn't make me feel like I was cheating. I don't know if I'd feel like I was cheating if I did anything in this game.
Yeah, there are a lot of Game Genie codes. A lot of them. They're all cheating in every single way because
there's no game system in this game but that little one. Yeah, what are you gonna do?
So like before I even talk about any of the codes, like what I would have liked to see would be a code that makes each of those accuracy lines wider. So you could just
exactly what I said.
That's what I was looking for.
Basically a difficulty toggle.
Yes.
And again, I guarantee this is present.
It's got to be in 2 and later.
Yeah, exactly. That is the game's biggest problem. Yeah. It's too punitive. And that's too frustrating for someone who isn't engaging it with that desire. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So yeah, that would have been fantastic. I can't believe that doesn't exist.
Oh, maybe it's too early. But instead of that, you just got a bunch of codes where you get to start, like each round begins at hole 1 through 17 or whatever. So
it's just warping to different holes.
Yeah, or each round ends after a certain hole. So we're only going to play 3 holes. Like you and me 3 holes. So I guess what?
That's kind of interesting. I mean, I guess. I mean, what does end mean though? You know, does it mean you what? What does that mean?
Each round ends after that hole. So if you, I guess.
So in the tournament mode. Okay. Copy.
Yeah. So shorter round. So I guess that could be interesting if you like golf, but you just want to. You love golf, but you don't want to play the whole thing over and over.
Will do a tournament?
Yeah.
Right. And I want to amass some winnings. I'm actually good. I can get winnings.
Exactly. Interestingly, they do have codes where like the top 32 scores make the first round cut instead of 48, so you're making it harder. And then the reverse, like you have the top 40 scores make second and third round cuts instead of 32. So
that's also like that wouldn't make me feel like I was cheating. That's just like a different tournament model as opposed to the one rigid form, you know. So that's not cheating.
But like
that's just
at the same time, I'm
61st every time. That doesn't matter.
Like, if I'm plus 18, I'm not really gonna win any money anyway. People are just the other golfers are just kind of looking at me like, yeah, that dude, whatever, you know.
We let him hang around. He's funny in the golf cart. He's
tell some funny stories.
He's the guy. He's the fucking guy, the caddy, and the locker room attendant. He's the play.
So yeah, outside of that, like. There wasn't everybody always makes the cut. So just the same kind of thing. Like if you were just like, I'm going to play the whole tour out, even if I'm going to be dead last the whole time. So maybe if you were like always missing the cut and you just wanted to be included to see if you could make a run later, that would be good. But yeah, other than that, like the codes really weren't that interesting to me.
Fair.
Historical perspective, not much either, man. Like I know there was a re-release on the Amiga in like 1994. And they added like 3 different courses from PGA Golf Tour.
So there you go, man.
2.
Yeah.
So that's interesting, you know. But outside of that, like, yeah, it's pretty much just solidly released.
First golf game.
Yeah, strong reception in a lot of places, and it clearly spawned a big thing. So
a whole deal. Word. Well, there were no lunchroom tabletop eavesdrops for this. Nothing you could do on that front. But I did, surprisingly, maybe, I don't know, you're talking about personal stuff, so it wasn't that surprising, I don't think. But I did come up with an economic analysis I'd like to discuss. So what I thought would be interesting to kind of examine was how much prize money did we collectively earn over the course of our tournament play in 2026 dollars as opposed to 1991 dollars when we would have won them. Right, Jay? So I personally won $0. So in $0 in April 1991, if you bring that forward at a total inflation rate of 139.68% to December 2025 dollars, because we haven't clicked over. They do it monthly on those websites, you know. Yeah. So you can't get January 2026 yet. We'll have to wait another day or two if we want to know what $0 in 1991 is in 2026. But in December 2025, it equals $0 US. So that's how much prize money I won in 2026 or $2025. Jay, how much prize money did you win?
Oh, let me check my screenshot. Mine was in $1990.
$1991. Yeah, so I'll do the computation. I'll do the computation.
All right, $1991. Also zero.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, in $0 in April 1991 dollars. If you bring that forward, Jay, at a total inflation rate of 139.68%. To December 2025 dollars, it also equals $0. So collectively, it sounds like we won in December 2025 dollars, $0 during our tournament play in PGA Tour Golf on the Sega Genesis. On Fire Up, we get the 3D model Electronic Arts logo animation. That was how they rolled at the top of every cart in this era. And just the number of times that I've saw this in my life on Madden 92 boot-ups alone is probably a hilarious number. But I have seen this fucking a lot in my life. This was in a lot of games that I loved for sure. From there, we cut to black. The title theme Tink Tinks in. A pixel art rendition of the photo on the box art fades in, which is behind me, and I meant to change, but I didn't. I'm sure you're okay with that, listener. Our mystery golfer working his way quite messily out of a bunker, and then the title treatment in gold across the blue sky above him. The PGA Tour logo big and bold to his right. If you let that roll a bit, we will fade to a credit card with the 9 developer credits and a clip of the golfer swing animation playing in the top left, which I guess they must have been very proud of that to include that there, in motion, which I get. Pretty good, I guess. And the sterling silver software plaque twinkles in the bottom right. In addition to the cats in the manual, Lee Actor and Dennis Coble being here, another notable is Ron Hubbard on the audio credit. Or, sorry, Rob. I wrote that wrong. I wrote it Ron the first time. I wrote it down, too, and I just, even though it says Rob now, I corrected it. It's still what comes out of me. And Ron Hubbard is the Scientology guy.
That's what I was about to say. I'm like, what?
Yeah, which is an amazing documentary. If you haven't fucking watched that, you should watch that. But, yeah, it's not him. Not the same guy. Different guy. Different deal, totally. And his name is Rob Hubbard. And Rob was one of the early linchpins at EA. He did both programming and music composition, which that was so much of the case early on, kind of having to wear multiple hats. But he worked there from 88 up into the mid-90s, so his name is all over many, many of the EA banger OSTs. Skate or Die, Road Rash, Desert Strike, and he ended up in that position off of being a prolific freelance composer for Commodore 64 games that he just fucking took up on his own, so... That's pretty cool.
I just made my own tunes and got a job out of it. It's awesome.
Yep. Fucking Wild West, man. If you catch the fucking wave on something like that, that's a wave. VR, I should be fucking... I was thinking, honestly, literally yesterday, thinking to myself, like, I should just stop everything I'm doing. I hate making movies now anymore, basically. So I should just like take the fucking time and start teaching myself this shit. And because I saw someone... there's a million different... that NES Maker thing I saw a long time ago. That I tried and just couldn't get into. I'm sure there's much better tools now. But basically, someone making their own NES game and like just doing that and like wrapping your mind around development in something that's probably so easy to do now with the developer tools that'll be available to you, and just getting a mind for it and getting back into it. I wanted to do when I was a kid. I didn't stick it out, and I don't know why the fuck I don't just do it now, because it's definitely where things are going. You can be so much more creative. You don't need anyone else to do it. Yeah, it's a lot of work, but you don't need anyone else to do it, and you don't need any money. It's just your time and your effort, So I really should just change my life. That would become a police detective is my other idea. I don't know.
two totally similar
yeah, same thing basically.
You just need to grab an IP and then just build whatever you want.
Yep, that's a great. That's the way to actually make money. Yes, Jay. I'm talking about just like enjoying my life.
Gosh,
you can do both. You can do both probably. That's maybe that's the attractive thing about it is those things are more closely aligned, or at least possible in that medium. Whereas in filmmaking, it's two completely different tracks. Making money and making things I want to watch, or actually want to be part of, rather. Two completely different endeavors. But I can fix that right now. A demo of course play between a couple of the pro golfers, different golfers in different courses each time, then fires up, and they're sure to get an instant replay worthy shot in there so you can see the instant replay in action too. So, stop dicking around, hit start though. We got some golf to play. Doing that takes you straight to the Pro Shop screen with the drop down menu up above. We logically should start with practice. We're talking about practice?
Practice.
We better be if you want to make this fucking team. And in the play drop down, you can either select driving range or putting green practice modes as far as like little mini games kind of. And the driving range is exactly what you think it would be. Yep. Your generic golfer stands in the tee box. A frog occasionally rivets maybe, and you can take cracks off the tee with whichever club you want out into a vast green space lined with trees on all sides. And there is wind to account for here, so you can kind of get the feel of that. And you're basically with this just trying to get the hang of the stroke bar is really all you're... I mean, I guess but the thing is, you can't... Even like the different clubs are meaningless because you don't have any metric by which to gauge. Exactly. Like it's just flying out into it's just a void that you're not able to discern like what it might mean to change clubs, you know. So it doesn't really help with that, but it does help you with the stroke bar shit.
Yeah, I mean, all it really is helpful for me. Like, I don't know how long you spent on the driving range, but I mean,
7 minutes.
Yeah, like probably about the same. But I was feeling pretty confident. I'm nailing 260 plus yards with ease every time, and so at that point, I'm kind of just like, I'm sure putting's harder. I'm feeling confident though, so I'm ready.
Right? Yeah, no. I mean, with both these mini games, yeah, like it's funny. Whatever, we'll get there. But like, yeah, like I came out of those 2 mini games like, all right, man, let's go. Do I even need the practice? I mean, I'm going to do the practice round because I'm doing a podcast, but I don't think I need it. Which is probably how every golfer feels after they take their golf lessons and fucking get down their golf shit with the fucking instructor, and then they get out there and it's just chaos. Right. When
like you start actually at the driving range, I'm amazing, and then you get all.
Oh, this is not a driving range. This is a much less controlled environment with a number more variables, and also people are looking at me and oh fuck.
Yes, all of that.
Yeah, very different. So yeah, you can kind of just whatever describing the way hitting works. You have the little crosshair up above your golfer to aim. You're then factoring in the little box that shows you the wind vane spinning with way too much erraticness to it, in my opinion, no matter, almost always. Very rarely is it just like this casual breeze, which, whatever, yes, in the real world, it's not always blowing exactly the same direction, but it doesn't completely switch, 17 fucking miles per hour the other direction like that. I mean, I don't know, I'm on mountaintops, yes, but why are all these courses on mountaintops? Like, what the fuck, man? Yeah, but that's here, so you can kind of get a feel for that, too. With the stroke bar, so you have like a standard distance potential with the club you have selected, right? And that is a number on the left side of the bar. So the driver, for example, is 260 yards. And actually in the manual, there's a full chart on page 9 that tells you what each club the distance is. And it explains there that these distance potentials assume a range of things. A perfect lie, so not in the rough or whatever. No wind, which is never the case. And then a flat spot to land on so it can bounce and roll, as opposed to perhaps a sand trap or a lake or a deep rough or whatever you might also be landing in. So all those things are assumed in these numbers. And yes, the really important thing is include the roll. So it's not going to actually go 260 on a perfect swing. It's going to go 246 and roll 14 feet or whatever. Bounce 14 feet. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, the really important thing there is to internalize that if there's anything, when you're looking at the overhead map, in between you and where you hopefully think you're aiming anyways, it's probably not going to be there, but where you think you're aiming, if there's anything in between there that's close to the landing spot that's a hazard or not a perfect lie of some kind, you better factor that into your decision making here, or you're probably going to have a bad shot. And that is not, it's not just an assumption, I think, walking into playing golf. Like 260 goes 260. You know what I mean? And that's not how golf works.
They definitely broke ranks from like earlier sports games, your double dribbles, where if I press B from this spot, it's going in. Like no.
Yeah. Way more
Nothing's
variables.
Uniform here.
Yes, way more variables. The stroke bar itself looks like a football field, I would say. When you hit B, your little cursor begins moving left from what I would equate to the right goal line of the football field, and then moves across equally spaced lines labeled 25, 50, 75, and those are the percentages basically of strength. And the left goal line in this analogy is labeled 100%. And the reason this is a good analogy is because there's also end zones on each side that go beyond those starting and stopping, ideal stopping points. So the first half of a perfect shot is achieved by hitting the B button when your cursor is exactly on the left goal line, basically. And if you're short of it, you'll be that proportional percentage short on the distance the club is capable of providing with that shot. And then going past it is not necessarily bad and does provide additional power like you would assume it would. Right. But for every little bit you push past 100%, you open yourself up to that much more of a negative outcome or impact of not being perfect on the third and final B button depression you will have on your shot. So the stopping point on the right side, and yeah, that is tough.
So tough
to learn.
Like the number of times you could hit your power perfect or more because you're like, all right, this is the power I want. This is that I know I got this, and then it's a little to the left, a little to the right of the accuracy,
and your shit just goes
off the rails.
Off, yeah, yeah, and it doesn't just like the thing. The thing is, it doesn't just add that, like, hook or like it's if you're like 3% left of the end, it's not just like a 3% left.
No,
a hook, I think it is to go to the left. It's that variance multiplied by the winds effect on your shot, multiplied by your lies effect on the shot. So it's like an exponentially growing problem. You know what I mean?
It's like that seafaring thing where it's like if you're 1 degree off of your navigation, you're going way off course. And
right. Over the long haul. Yeah. Right. Exactly. Yeah. Very much so. So wherever you stop on the left side, yes, it then the cursor begins moving back to the right, and you want to, stop it again, right on the goal line, basically. And, which slice is right, hook is left. So, yes, I was right about that. And, the thing is, and it's funny, it came up right on the little bit we were able to do on the couch co-op last night, on my first shot. A high-level golfer can use a hook or slice. It's not necessarily bad, basically. Right. It's just something you have to be able to dependably control or know how you're creating it. You know what I mean? And
I know what you mean. And I cannot.
Yeah, be accommodating all the other things. Yeah, be accommodating all the other things to factor that in. Because like if you want to you can literally go around something at the end of your shot, like around a tree, if you're able to really do that, which a really good golfer probably can. We are not that.
There are times I wish I could have done that, and it did not.
Sure.
There are other times where I was grateful that it did.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It saved me.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that hook was perfect.
Like
multiple times.
Great,
I couldn't recreate that because if I tried, it's just going way off the rails.
Somewhere stupid, right? Exactly. So after providing your distance on the drive, it just resets at the tee box and you can take another whack. And you can change your clubs here you hit up or down on the D-pad and it just cycles through them, the ones in your bag that you selected when you were making your golfer. Or I think you can change them every time you do a tournament, actually.
Yeah.
But the one thing that kind of sucked, the look of your club doesn't really change as you cycle through them, which I'm sure also probably changes in the latter iteration.
Oh, it definitely does.
Yeah. Switching over to the putting green is a similar system, but there is some additional information that's provided in the form of you're first shown like a topographical map of the green, and that helps communicate. I don't think it does a good job necessarily, but it does try to communicate how the land between where your lie is and the cup might affect your shot after you hit it. Do you want to factor that in? And honestly, I was really disappointed with it at first. Like everything else we talked about early on here, you do it enough and you kind of get to understand what it means in the, within the language that it uses you can get better at interpreting this, I guess is maybe the simple way to say that.
I kind of felt the reverse.
I mean, it's never great. It's not great. No, okay. It's too rudimentary to be great. I'm simply saying I got better at it. Is all I mean.
It's interesting. I first thought the grid view was helpful. So I'm like, oh, okay. It tells me
Well, it's definitely helpful. If you didn't have it would be a nightmare.
Right. If below, I know I need to like put a little more
oomph. Right. Yeah, that's on here too. It tells you how many feet you are on this view, and then also tells you where you're at relative height-wise to the cup.
But man, I don't know if it's the roll thing. Some of my putts would be exactly on both lines, like so many times, and somehow still be too strong and end up like.
For sure. But the thing is that's what I mean.
So I'm just like, dude, what?
But here's the thing, though. There's more variables, dude, because, like, I mean, if you're just talking, if it's obviously just a straight shot with no anything, and there's no anything, then this isn't applicable. But, there's situations where, like, you have, like, a dip, and then it goes back up. So now you're not even talking about, like, it's just, there's just more variables.
Yeah, and honestly, I know elevation definitely comes into play. But when I was on the putting green during this part, I definitely had a feeling that this is RNG. This feels like random RNG to me sometimes, where kind of like later what EA would do with football games or basketball games, like, oh, the computer has to come back. You're going to be missing some shots here, or your wide receiver's going to drop this ball that he would normally catch. And you're like, dude, what? Why would that happen? It felt like some of my putts were like this, and I can't prove that, but it just felt
I can't prove this fucking thing was cheating, but I think it was. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, whatever. That's just fucking. That's how all games. That's how they still present it. That's still how game difficulty is presented. It's more nuanced now, and they're better able to disguise it as real things, real systems. But they're just no matter what, it always boils down to just numbers and how well can they mask those numbers for sure. But here they just had a lesser ability to do so, so it's more discernible and you feel it more, and it's more frustrating, of course. Yeah, and that, like, the design of some of these, too, like I was talking about being on a mountaintop with the fucking rest of the course, like, who is the monster designing some of these fucking greens with, like, these fucking I don't give a shit how good you are at golf. There's things here, even the real-world iteration of it, which I guess, really, a physicist is going to tell you is also just numbers. But, like, designing these courses with these things, they're just like, there's no way for you to really be able to, like, math out what you got to do here, no matter how good of a golfer you are. There is just going to be like, I'm throwing fucking caution to the wind here and just kind of seeing what happens with some of these course designs. And I just don't understand. I know it's PGA. How hard can we, like, they're pro. It's supposed to be hard. And we want to introduce variance so everyone's not just 6 fucking strokes under at the end of the, so I get that that's there, but, like, still, just, you gotta be such a monster to design some of these greens the way they're designed is so frustrating. Yeah, and, like, it's kind of like, it's like a reveal almost, the way the game works, because you get shown this view and it just, like, pops up. You're not even going to it willingly. It just shows it to you. So you're like, you're going into a hole you may not know, or you probably don't know if you haven't memorized these fucking things. And, like, you don't know what that's going to show you. And, like, you have whatever emotional layering you've gotten to or went through and accumulated over the course of your play of this particular round. And, like, wherever you might be emotionally, you will get just shown this fucking new problem set. And it's just like, you'll see a level, like, some variables, and you're just like, what the fuck? Like, I'm already pissed off and, like, this shit now? Yeah, like, this game can fucking really get to you, man. It's pretty funny how, I don't know, emotionally impactful it was on me at times. It's the maddest I've been in a very long time playing a video game. Like, my dog is leaving the room, like I said, I'm like, some shit would happen. I am just, like, fucking smashing the goddamn pillow on the couch next to me, like, what the fuck?
I don't think there's any way to, like, bury the lead. I felt the exact same way. I was angry often, very often. And I don't know if I ever had fun. I don't know if I ever was, like, there was never a point I can say clearly that it was time for me to play another round. And I said, I'm looking forward to this. It's going to be fun.
No, especially once you got there.
Not one time.
Especially once you got to playing around in the tournaments.
Not
whatever. We'll get there. But, like...
But I had hope coming out of... Like, I was confident coming out of the driving range. The putting green had me feeling way less confident. It feels... Like, I'm making some putts, but the elevation, this feels like RNG now. I don't know. So I'm like 50-50 going into a practice round.
Okay. Well, we're not quite out of there yet. After you're done agonizing over how that information that you've now gathered from this map, this topography map has communicated to you, and how it's going to affect emotionally the next 30 seconds of your life. You click off that and your golfer is on the green, putter in hand.
Happy, the ball itself has its own energy, or life force, if you will. Its natural environment is in the hole. So why don't you send him home? His bags are packed. He's got his airplane tickets. Bring him to the airport. Send him home.
Send him home. I just send him home. It's time to go home there, ball.
Son of a bitch, Ball, why didn't you just go home? That's your home! Are you too good for your home? Answer me! Suck my white...
So your stroke bar looks the same here, the little quasi football field, and your engagement with it is functionally identical. But in this case, hitting up or down on your D-pad doesn't change the club. It changes in 5-foot increments the potential of distance your swing intends to have. So you're just changing your power, basically, by doing that. That changes what 100% on the meter means. So, there's ways to game this, and there's something to learn also that at the lowest level, it kind of goes out the window. And until I read the strategy guide, I didn't know this, and I was super pissed off for my practice round, basically until I got into the tournament, because I read the strategy guide before I started tournament play. So basically my practice round stuff, I was extra pissed off while putting, because you get into the situations where it auto gives you the 5 setting, usually when you just missed a putt anyways, because now you're super close, right? So the thing about when it's 5 is it kind of goes out the, you can't really hit it too hard, basically. And you have to kind of hit it between 50 and 100 for sure. I would still just, because it's only fucking 7 inches. I can't have to hit 100%.
Right.
I just can't internalize that. So, but I would, if you go below 50%, you will still short a fucking 1.5 foot. And yes, throw your fucking controller through the wall, dude.
I'm right here. I'm 12
right.
inches from the cup, and it's the ball went 7 inches. I'm like,
you son of a bitch, yeah. And it's because, yes, it wants you, which there's no way to know this without reading the strategy guide. There's no way to intuitively assume this, that you have to just know that you need to still kind of whack at full speed to some degree. Which, yeah, until you figure that out is really annoying. Oh my gosh. But, yeah, so you want to internalize all this data you've been given here, and then, and you can go back and look at the map whenever you want, or hit A, or go through the menu, whatever. And, yeah, you kind of want to, you want to manipulate that. And you can do this on the map, too. We didn't mention that, but you can move this is cool. And I think this is also one of the shortcomings of the game. Because this should be this should apply to the rest of the course too. When you go to the overhead map, you should be able to aim with that crosshair. That you could use the overhead map does have the crosshair. Right. You can take it anywhere and find out how far that is. So you can factor that in. Okay, I want to go to this spot. I know even though I'm 240 yards from the pin, I only want to go 200 yards to get to this spot. So I should I want my club to be X, So it allows you to gather that information. But when you click off of the top-down map, that movement that you've done with the cursor is gone, and it's just shooting straight again.
It doesn't start you at that place that you wanted to target, potentially.
Right. Yeah. Here, thankfully, for the putting, it does. When you move that cursor on the map view, when you go back to the actual gameplay screen, that has changed, and you are now aiming in the same place you were aiming on the fucking...
But did you find that helpful? To me, that was just
yes,
standard. I didn't find it helpful at all.
It was super helpful, dude. It's super helpful.
It's in the exact same place. Whenever I pull up that grid, it's always lined up with the putt.
Right, but you can move it.
Up with the cup. No, I know, but it's always lined up with the cup, so why do I need to move it? I would move it, but then I'm why would I move it? It's... Once I moved it lined up with the cup the first time, it was always lined up. So
you don't want to be lined up with the cup necessarily, though, because if it's on some slant that you want to accommodate, you can't. It doesn't always be on the cup. You can move it off the cup.
No, I know.
You can both turn the angle that you're looking at with the up and down,
which I didn't
arrows
find to be helpful, and unless you couldn't see the grade.
Right. Well, I found it helpful because I wanted to look at it straight on every time, and it always starts you slightly offset. So I did find it helpful to get to what I wanted to see. But you're right. I don't think changing it. Yeah, there are situations where maybe if you want to really get a view of a divot that you can't see from this angle, you could go all the way over there and maybe get a better gauge of that. But generally speaking, yeah, not hugely helpful to move the angle of your view, but moving the cursor for sure. Like if you know, based on what the arc is and like the number of times that it might go back and forth as far as what it's got to go across, moving that was definitely helpful. And like, you know, even if there's just like one little thing, just one click over, just to give it a little bit of fade, you know, and then, and that also affects like what you want your power to be. Like if you're factoring in the little bit of a fade on a hill and like you've made it go up a hill a little bit by the direction you hit, and you want the power to be a little bit less on the back end of that shot because it's going to need to dissipate and then curve into the hole. Like all that shit is in there. And like, again, I'm not saying it's like, you know, it's too rudimentary to be as good as you want it to be. But that system and those thoughts were there in their design of this for sure. And moving the arrow a little bit and the fact that it transfers over to your putting as well when you go back is helpful for sure, I think, anyways.
That's fair. I mean, I just found myself, like I said, it seemed helpful at first. I'm like, okay, I'm paying attention to all that. Maybe it was just a function of time. Once I got into the tournaments, I just found myself just fast forwarding through that as quick as possible. Like once I would get to the putts, like, I don't know, by like easily my last course for sure, but maybe I would want to just like press by like, all right, I'm just gonna putt. I'll look at. I don't need to.
I would want to too, and the more pissed off I got, the more I wanted to do that. But the more pissed off I got and I wanted to do that, the more I would stop myself and be like, you're just gonna get pissed off more if you don't fucking take the time to do it right and like factor this information is giving me in. It's only going to be worse. And like that's the thing about golf. And I honestly think like that's the thing too about this whole whatever emotional fucking roller coaster playing this game is. I'm not a golfer. And I think one of the main reasons I've played, you know, a handful of times in my life, and it was a horrible experience every time, because there is no, it's not a sport, it's an activity, but there's no athletically minded activity that is more dependent on patience and consistency. And like thinking before you act. And like really thinking, not just like, and then go, like every sport kind of demands of you. It is like stop and fucking think and think about every possible variable here, and then think about it again, and then do your act.
No, Josh, it's battle mage time. We run in. This
yeah, right. Well, that is how you get super pissed off playing PGA Tour Golf for sure. Because yeah, I mean, I had that same inclination when things were going really bad. I would want to just like fuck putting, and then I'm like, no, I'm only gonna get more pissed off. Stop and breathe, and then do the thing. Look at the map, and at least make some input. So at least if it goes wrong, I can't trace it back, at least not entirely, to my lack of patience. You know what I mean? Like, because that's the thing that's frustrating about it is, like, yes, there's the video game shit happening behind the curtain that I don't have control over and pisses me off, like, to no end. But it pisses me off way more in life. Like, I get, like, when I'm walking, if I hurt myself in some dumb way or something, and I can trace it back to my own dumb action, as opposed to just random, yeah, like, that pisses me off way more than if I just hurt myself by doing some random variance thing. So that's here for sure and baked into this. And like, if you can like back off that and like calm yourself down, that will be helpful. And over the long haul, again, that 1% off your course while sailing will be a little less off course if you can fucking do that. And that's what this game's all about, I think. And that's what golfing all about is in general, I think. And again, I think they wanted to bake that in here. So there's only so much you can criticize of that, I think. That's you know. Yeah, the biggest thing about this, you know, this is just putt-putt, obviously. The biggest thing playing this game, I thought to myself, was I needed to get back into walkabout. Or walkabout, rather. It's fucking, one, way more pleasant to do that than this game. But two, I've really fallen off that, and I just keep hearing about the new courses dropping, and I'm like, oh, I should fucking pick that up and play it. But
dude, I almost messaged you last weekend talking about Let's Play, but then Courtney was sick, so I didn't end up playing it, but I'm definitely down to play some more walkabout.
Yeah, I'm definitely.
I thought you put it down, so I was like, he doesn't play that anymore. He doesn't talk about it.
I don't really, but I don't have a good reason for that. It's because I've been, you know, whatever. So much. The big thing is I don't see it. That's probably the biggest thing because everything's Steam based now, so I don't even. All I do is turn on virtual desktop when I open the Quest OS. You know what I mean? So I don't go through the menu, so I don't ever see walkabout, and like, you know, walkabout's the kind of thing, you know, like. I did when I first got it, but walkabout after a year of having a headset was never about like, oh, I need to pick this up and play some walkabout. It's always like, put your headset on. What do I want to do? Like, oh, walkabout. You know? And once I take that opportunity out, I really fallen off of it. But there's a bunch of cool ass courses. There's like an 8-bit one that I still haven't. Oh wait, I did get that actually. The 8-bit layer. I might have that now, but I've only played it a time or two. But yeah, there's been a bunch of courses that have come out that I've thought to myself, like, oh, that'll be kind of fun. Yes, we should. So this also will, after you sink the putt, however many attempts it might take you to do that, the game will again feed you a random, unique putting scenario. So you can just basically try different shit and learn how it works as much as you want, just like with the driving shit. And then the last practice scenario is, yes, a full round of golf without the pressure of tournament play. And this will require creating a golfer, finally. Got to name them. Todd McTotterson did not quite fit, sadly, so I had to shorten it to...
I don't know why I love that name.
So I had to shorten it to Todd McTotters, which is just as fun, I guess, but not
quite the same. Not quite.
Yeah, not quite the same. I presume you were.
Man, I'm like choking the water with that. No, I'd heard that name before. Like the first time I heard it.
Yeah, whenever I have to do a last name for a Todd, or I can even, I shouldn't say I have to. When I give her, I can, which is a rarity in these retro games.
Oh gosh.
What did you go with specifically?
I mean, I just went with Gentleman JB. I didn't really think of it as a big deal. I don't know. I just kind of.
Of course not. It's a big deal. Of course it's not a big deal, but just whatever it is.
Yeah, I just kind of went with Gentleman JB. Let's roll. Let's golf.
Okay.
Let's golf.
So when you're doing this, you have to choose between professional and amateur tees. And that's just your distance from the pin on holes, your starting distance, basically, which we talked about this. And you know what's funny, too? You can only select between professional and amateur, but a lot of the holes, maybe even all the holes, have 3 on there. So I don't know, like 3 starting tee circles, you know? So
I didn't even notice them.
Yeah, I definitely clocked that a few times. Like, that's not even an option to start at those. I don't know what the difference is. You know what it is? It's because these are licensed courses, and those are the female things, I think, in the ultra-sexist world of golf.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, not the amateur tees. You have the amateur is like an amateur men's tee, I think. This is me. I don't know enough about golf, but I'm pretty sure that's what those are. If I like Lynx LS or something, I think I remember this being a thing. And yeah, I think one of those is the women's starting tee.
Okay.
So you also have to select the clubs in your bag, and you have 16 possibilities, but you can only take 13. So this defaults to the removal of the 2-wood and the 5-wood and the 1-iron. There are no personalization options beyond the name, and that was kind of a bummer. You can't even pick your fucking polo shirt color, which sucks. I bet they fixed that for the latter games too. You could probably do way more different shit.
Yeah, I think that's why I didn't really think too much about this, because it was like name and then now we're moving. So it was like, okay, whatever, not a big deal. Whereas for me, my most, like when I think about golf outside of like your standard, we're in the bar playing Golden Tee, like on a console, it's probably like Tiger Woods. I want to say it was like 2002 or 3. Like my grad
probably
school,
all sorts of crazy shit.
Dude, my grad school roommate had it, and like it was amazing. Like we would play it. You know, grad school was freaking intense, so we would like freaking smoke and play video games, kind of chill, whatever. And I remember that being so like, because I didn't. I've talked about it before, but I didn't buy a new console for the entire time I was in college. I would, play what other people had, but otherwise, like, I got to focus kind of thing. And so not only, coming to grad school, I've played Xbox off and on, PlayStation off and on, but like he had like the latest PlayStation, he had Tiger Woods, you could make your own golfer. And he actually, I started making a guy. He makes like a chick, and I'm like, why would you make a chick? Like, that's weird. What are you doing? But he's like, we're playing a video game. Do you want to stare at a dude's ass the whole time? Or understand? Like, okay, fair enough.
Yeah, it's
like,
fucking seeing the Matrix shit. Right? yeah, that's good. Yeah.
So I still remember that as like a core, like, wow, there's so much customization, and like that being actually a fun golf game, and being surprised, like, wow, I can have fun playing golf now. So it came a long way from this, where there was none of that at all.
No question at all. You then select which of the 4 courses you want to tackle, and next it's on to hole number 1 for that course, and we start with an introduction screen with a multitude of helpful intel bits as one of the possible flyby tunes that we're listening in each of our act breaks here plays in the background. Then there's the video of the flyover is the most notable thing happening here, and like the video starts at the tee, flies to the pin, and then backs up towards the tee again. So it kind of like gives you coming and going, versions of it. And they're so, again, so rudimentary though. these get so much better in later games. And like this kind of shit was on Lynx LS too, I think, and they're like clearly just so higher quality. Here it's so choppy and like it's barely useful, basically, in this case. And then we also, down below, we have one of the 10 pros giving you a tip about the hole, and there's a headshot captioned with their name. Then the tip is presented as an actual quote from the golfer, as if he's telling you this shit at the bar outside the pro shop or whatever. And, I mean, I would actually, I don't know. At first I was like, these are fucking pointless. But some of them actually are, like, go against, the biggest, most useful ones, I should say, are probably the ones that go against what you're suggesting. Like, you'll get on the course and, like, it doesn't always start on your driver, basically. It starts on a certain club that, like, is whatever the default selection for this particular hole. If you only have 161 yards to the pin, it'll give you the fucking, whatever, 3-iron or whatever the fuck that is.
Right.
And sometimes this pro tip will deviate from that and tell you, like, you can play from
the 2-iron instead.
Right, and like try to get a lie here, and then, you can bump up to whereas if you drove, you would be using a lower club for that second shot. Here, you're going to be a little bit higher on the second shot, but it's a safer thing to shoot for because you're not trying to overpower your shot, blah, 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 whatever the reason might be. So some of these are actually kind of helpful, and they do kind of deviate from what is naturally given to you as your default thing with the club shift. Sure. So not a terrible addition that actually has purpose. It's not just a cosmetic thing, basically. And then a top-down overhead map is shown to you to further convey what you're dealing with here. We kind of talked about that already. Then you go back to the tee, and it's time to play some golf. The wind is dynamic. It can change direction and miles per hour at any time. There are some occasional birds chirping, some frogs ribbiting, but there is no music here, so it is very zen, like golf is intended to be, I think. They convey that quite well. And then you set your direction, take your whack with your club of choice, and then see where the chips fall. And after your shot settles, they cut back to the overhead map and show you where your ball ended up. There's a blue line from the tee where you started to the spot of your lie to help you understand how shit went the way it did. And like where your ball ended up, that's kind of funny too, because it just like goes right through the trees or whatever the fuck your shitty shot might have done, which is kind of funny to look at every time. And then back to the play view, a box pops up showing you what kind of terrain you now sit in, and how deeply embedded you are in it in the event it's in a medium other than fairway or green that could have some depth to it. And there may be some text to help you understand what you're seeing too, as in like the ball lies half buried in the rough or whatever. And this is a very nuanced variable, actually. There are a lot of possible lies even within each type. So like just being in the rough is not the same as being deeply buried in the rough or whatever. And we'll get into the strategy guide. There's actually there's 9 different possible lies, basically, mathematically, you know what I mean? And we'll talk about what each one of those kind of means when we get there. Then you whack it again with the same incorporating of environmental and contextual intel into your strategy and hopefully execution. You rinse and repeat until you're on the green, and it's the same situation as the putting green practice mode. Once you're over near the green, they do provide some additional contextual information in the form of a top-down camera view, like right over top the hole. So, it's like, it's showing you, the intent is to show you it's real time. It's not like a post, whatever. It's like, as you see your ball traveling in the main view, if it gets close enough, it will immediately appear and behave the same way in that view. And the idea here is to show you how close you are getting to the hole, but it will also show you how fast your fucking putt whizzes through and by. Which is, fucking infuriating, of course.
Here's your shot.
So,
here's the ball. Oh, nope, not even close.
Yeah. I mean, it'll sometimes spend like less than a fucking nanosecond in the box. It's just so bad.
It almost reminds me of like if you were an early cameraman and it was like your first time, like, ooh, we're televising golf for the first time. This is going to be amazing, And you're like, all right, get ready for the close shot. He's putting. And so you have that shot there and the ball goes whizzing through and you're like, we got to come up with something different because.
Right, yeah, like that creative approach is not going to get it done.
We need to zoom out further or do something different there.
Yep.
He's missing it.
Especially with this fucking golfer. This is the Mulligan guy from the locker room. Yeah, Topic Totters is fucking not a sound putting game guy. We gotta cover his shit a little differently. So yeah, man, you said you had varying degrees. Like I am like getting through these practice things and I am having a shit ton of fun. I'm sitting, I was excited. I was texting you like excited and shit. I'm thinking to myself, like, even with like the tougher moments, golf games are just fucking fun. Period, man. And
yeah.
Well, again, Jay, I'm saying this because you go to tournament play and then shit gets real. After these messages.
Quiet, please.
Yeah, right. Okay, let the big dog eat. Kaboom. Give me Freddy, Fuzzy, and the Walrus. Not that one. That one. Give me that, some of that. Oops, care for a drink? Now we're dancing. I'll take that, not that.
Eat it up, baby.
Yeah. How we doing? Gimme. Sorry, no gimmies. If it's in the game, it's in the game. PGA Tour Golf 2 for Sega Genesis. EA Sports. It's in the game.
That is a 1993 U.S. commercial for the second game in the PGA Tour Golf series. It's part of that Gimme That campaign that was absolutely elite advertising at the time, or now even, I would say. And the first thing we're going to talk about here is the strategy guide in a little bit of depth, because there's a ton of shit in there that is integral to really even attempting to participate in the tournament mode of this video game. So, yeah, I'd done my due diligence to get the hang of the base mechanics in the 3 practice modes, and then I was like, yeah, okay, read the strategy guide now, and I like deliberately saved it until after that, so I had so I would have an understanding of like what the fuck it's saying to me, basically. You know, you get into this, and they explain right up top that they're throughout the whole thing, they are going to use an example hole from the Sawgrass course, a 529-yard par 5 hole. It's the 11th hole in the course, that is proclaimed to have demolished the dreams of more than one tournament hopeful. So it's stated here that this particular hole has elements of everything a golfer must consider when trying to cash grab at a tourney. They naturally begin with teeing off. It says if you hit like a gorilla but can't control the ball, you'll find yourself in trouble on most of your second shots. Keep in mind that all the TPC courses are designed to penalize risky shots that turn out badly. So again, it's like we talked about, like professional golf courses, like there is an intent behind them to force you into this like controlled madness approach to golf, I think. That is not necessarily the cowboy battle-made shit that you or I might be more inclined to approach golf with. So the first nuance of this relates to club distance potential math, and it's reiterated that the distance estimate is perfect conditions, hit at 100%, and includes the ball's flight plus its roll. So when hitting over a sand or water hazard, and you are choosing between 2 clubs, you always choose the longer one. And then that of course adds that's the thing, like the big, like no matter what you do, if you try to hedge something, there's always a give and take, I guess. It's going to present another variable, because the thing about doing this is now you're worried about obviously overshooting the mark, and you have to have some level of curbing of your power, but that's not an exact science. Like, you can sit and do the math if you want. One, you're not going to be able to stop it at exactly 94.7%, like you might math out to. And 2, like, that might not be as dependable as you think anyways, you know, because there's other variables also. Dude, so
there were so many times when I tried, when I'm like, all right, I need to hit this at approximately 88%.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
And
me too.
Invariably, when that would happen, like every now and then, you know, it would go well, and I'm like, all right, I'm close. More often than not, I'd end up short. Like, I should have just hit it stronger. Like, it didn't go. So it's very. It never felt uniform to me. There's too many variables at all times. Right. Like,
yep.
And
very
or maybe I'm just not the type of person who likes to just sit there and practice that same course over and over and over again to try to understand.
Well, definitely not. I definitely don't want to do that. Yeah, I don't like tedium, but I do like problem solving. Like, that's what I think gets me out golf games, is like, I do like that whole problem set. I don't want to sit and fucking practice over and over and over again. Right. But I do like the idea of the system. It's just, again, here, it's just not a good balance of it, or it's just not quite a developed enough balance of it. I don't want to say it's not good at the time. I think it was probably amazing, but in hindsight, it's hard to boil that down.
I don't know, Josh.
In your assessment.
I don't know if we had Golden Tee available at the time. Golden Tee was pretty awesome.
In 1991?
Being able to swipe
Yeah, without 1991 though. For one, and two, that's not at home. That's in a bar. Definitely not. Sure. It definitely wasn't for me. I'm definitely not in a bar in 1981. Well, that's a lie. I wasn't.
Clearly, I was not in a bar in 1991.
I was actually, but I don't remember Golden Tee. I was playing RoboCop instead.
Yeah, that's earlier than I thought. I don't know why in my mind I'm like it's 90s. Like no, very big difference. Very big difference.
Very big difference between 1999 and 1991. The second nuance is warning against overswinging unless you really have your shit together. And honestly, I think a better way to do that is just to never do it. Is really the smarter thing. It's never worth the rub, basically. It's never worth the juice. The squeeze is never worth the juice, or the juice is never worth the squeeze.
I will disagree. I will say when there's not water right next to you where it's going to be like massive penalty, and I know it's like one of those 500 plus.
I don't think so.
Like,
to me, it never made sense to me.
It would more often than not maybe work out for me where I'm like cranking it to 80.
I felt like I got good at driving, but it was never because I felt like I got good at that, but I never felt like I was good enough at dealing with the second stopping point.
Oh no, I never felt like that either. I just think I got to the point where
the bad outcome didn't matter to you.
Well. There's a level of acceptance here, Josh. But no, like I got good enough at least to where, with the driving, I felt pretty confident that I could land close to that line, even if it wouldn't go straight like I thought it should go all the way. I hit the two lines where they should.
But that's all the more reason to stop a little short rather than a little long, because if you're a little bit short, at least if it hits, very few of the driving, the tee situations have a possible result that being a little bit short is a problem. Well, a major problem anyways.
That's true.
It's always way worse to get off track, basically left or right, than it is to be a little short going straight off the tee. Different.
Oh yeah, off the tee. I'm trying to go straight, like off the tee every time. Like I'm trying to go long. So obviously, if I crank it or slice it where I didn't want to, then it's like fuck. That's not what I meant.
That's not what I want.
But
right, yeah.
Here we're still in the practice round, so it's kind of I guess we're past that
they're talking about tournament play over the straight again, for sure.
That's all a different thing. Now, I will say that if I was being serious, if I cared more about golf, and I took this whole thing more seriously, I would have done my practice rounds without mulligans because I felt too confident. I think coming out of there because I would drive it off the tee trying something and it would slice it. Or
I don't know. I mean, honestly, I think
do it and I'd land like par and I'm like, wow, this is great. But in a tournament, that obviously cannot happen.
I didn't do a mulligan a single time, and in hindsight, really, I think that is dumb because a mulligan basically allows you to gather more data about the situation you just experienced, and that it's more scientific, and you learn more, and you probably get better as a result because you see the two different outcomes side by side. And so much of this is not in a vacuum like that. And you are just kind of, juggling all these variables that it's hard to keep track of necessarily in a way that you're able to like really repeatedly, use basically as intel to inform your next shot. So that honestly is a super smart thing to do that I probably fucked up on by not doing in the practice stage. The third and last thing here in this section is about the wind, and most notably paying fucking attention to it and compensating accordingly. It can, I mentioned it can change moment to moment as you line up your shot, but they clarify here that the game nerfs this a bit. I don't know if I'd say a lot or even a substantial amount, but it does claim that the wind effects become static once the ball's in flight. So basically, once you start the cursor, I think anyways is how I interpret that. If not, it still would be a little helpful, I guess. But I interpreted that as the second you start the shot, wherever it's at, is how it's going. The problem with that is even in the 0.7 seconds between you deciding, okay, I'm going to hit it now, based on the plan I have and where the wind's at, okay, now I'm going to hit it. There's still a little bit of a latency between that moment in your head and you beginning the movement of the cursor with your input. So the wind can still change in between there. And it was not
Absolutely.
a totally 0% occurrence to have it change drastically on you. And that is a real motherfucker. Yeah. Which is also real, you know.
That's exactly what I'm saying. I could be lining them up perfectly, and then all of a sudden, I'm like, why is it going that way? And like, it was perfect. No.
Fuck! Yeah, this game, man. The next broad category is playing your lie on the second shot, and a general explanation of how the balls lie affects your shot is up first. And, you know, it explains, of course, bad lies reduce the amount of backspin you can impart on the ball. Well, I shouldn't say, obviously. I learned this by reading this. The reason it affects your shot so much is it changes the amount of backspin that the ball will have after you hit it and it lands. And then, of course, how far each club can hit. And then it also, the last variable it changes is how the ball reacts to an imperfect swing. So, again, like I said, it was that multiplier effect. If you're in the rough, the exact same bad swing effect that you would have in the fairway is magnified further by hitting from the rough. So, again, it's a fucked slippery slope to be bad at golf, basically. Right.
Put on your big boy pants before you step on the greens.
Yeah, for sure. Which is why I hated real life golf, because it's fucking just not pleasant at all. To excel at it requires so
I think
many
I shot a
hours
130 when I last played in Columbus or something crazy like. And
I
I was like, yeah, I'm not
score.
doing that. Yeah,
I don't remember you keeping score. It probably would have been hilarious though. Yeah, I just can't even imagine how that. I mean, I just remember, like I can't even get the ball. I've said this too many times in this podcast, right? But I can't even get the ball to go in the air. Like it just skips. It's just like, which granted, I've never had any semblance of formal training. I had like one asshole dickhead that my freshman and sophomore year roommate, Justin, was the one that dragged me to golfing a few times. And, you know, the knowledge he might have half-assedly imparted to me would have been the only teaching I would have had. And I'm sure it wasn't good. And I also probably didn't listen. It could have been good. I probably wouldn't have listened anyway. So, whatever. But they provide an ordered best to worst list of the 9 possible lies in the game. We start with teed up, then fairway fringe are equal situations. Number 2, a divot in the fairway, which is like, you know, I only saw this a handful of times, but every time I'm like, I'm in the fairway, fuck off. Why is there a divot in the fairway of negatively affecting my situation? Like, this is a fucking PGA course. Get the guy out there and fix it before I have to fucking hit the ball off the tee. You know, would be what I say about that, but I guess whatever. They're big spaces. They can't keep track of all that shit. But the fact that was present in this game, I was like, fuck you. Like,
I didn't care about any of these. I'm like, to me, there are three outside of being on the tee. I'm either on the fairway, I'm on the rough, or I'm in the sand. Like all these extra like variations.
Yeah, I mean,
half bear, like whatever. Just give me the.
I don't. Yeah, I'm not saying that these things were input into my calculations. The point of this to read them is just to say that this is it's a descending scale and that they affect your shit worse. So we go from the divot at 3 to light rough at 4, sand traps at 5. I did kind of think it interesting that number 5 is sand trap in the middle. So if you're in the sand trap, not buried but in, and those are 2 different things, that's better than half buried in light rough. And then number 7, that's number 6, and then number 7 is buried in a sand trap. And then 8 is in heavy rough. And then number 9 is half buried in heavy rough. You know, so just, I thought it interesting that it, oscillated between those otherwise same things.
I think I was half buried in the heavy rough when we were first attempting yesterday, and my slice went like way off to the left with the delay, and I was trying to hack it off, and it was going like 30 yards each time after that. I was like, wow, this is the most punitive I've ever seen.
That's you know, that's a whole thing too. It's like when you're out there like that, you know, you'll still be 170 yards in the hole, but you're so deep that it's telling you to use your pitching wedge, and even with the pitching wedge, you don't. It does nerf your total distance possible in the math right there next to your stroke bar, so you know. If I hit the shot perfectly, I'm only going 60 yards. And the thing about that is, again, you can go to, we haven't said exactly this yet. I mentioned how it would be nice to be able to leave that cursor on the overhead map and then have that transfer to the golf play. But the reason that's particularly nice is is because even in this is where the game really, where the game fails the biggest actually, is that when you go to that golf view, you can't always discern what that shit in the overhead map is in relation to what you see when you go to the golf thing. So,
oh my gosh, no.
If it's in this situation, I'm talking about in the rough where you can only go 60 yards, it's not as much of a thing because that shit's all so close that you can tell. But when you're really trying to like use landscaping things in your decision making on a long 200-yard shot or something, you can't always tell what is what. And like, I on more than one occasion thought I was aiming for one thing and I wasn't, and I had a bad outcome just because of a lack of information I was given. You know what I mean? And that, of course, is a massive failing that you feel really robbed when it happens, you know. That sucks. Sand trap mechanics are next, and if your ball isn't buried in the trap, you can hit all of your irons between 50 and 90% of their distance potential. So, on top of that, you're also told that any club longer than the 4-iron is bad business in the sand in general. So, don't do it, no matter what you think the math needs to be. It's just, they're too long, doesn't work well. And they tell you to play conservatively out of sand traps. Just get back on the fairway green and you'll save a lot of pars. They're telling you to not try to like also get further in the course and get out of the sand trap.
Don't try to get it all back. Just
right, exactly. Then the punch shot is explained, and this is for when shit really hits the fan, when it's half buried in the rough or buried in the sand, and you have to go up to the menu and select the punch shot from the special shots up there. So even thinking to do this, I don't even know. I don't. One or two times, maybe very rare because because it's out of the thing. But I guess the idea is you kind of I don't even know exactly what it means. I guess it dramatically reduces the distance the ball will travel, but also considerably nerfs the possible bad effects your lie can have on it. So it kind of removes some of that rough shit, which is obviously advantageous if you're just trying to get back on the green, of course. The next topic is why golf is a thinking person's game. They explain. This example sawgrass hole, being 529 yards to the pin, puts you in quite a strategic pickle. You have to crush it off the tee, 300 yards or more, and then cross a big-ass sand trap to reach the green in 2 shots. So, if you're 240 yards from the hole on your second shot, and you try to get to the green with a 3-wood at 100%, if you're able to hit a solid shot, of course, you're probably going to skip off and into the deep rough behind the green. So an alternative option is to use the 3-wood and shoot it a bit short on the tee, so you bounce to your lie. In that case, you're risking hitting the sand, of course. But you can do that, or use a long iron with some overswing to it to accomplish the same thing, but then you're risking the aiming variance, of course. So the conservative play is to drop it short of the river, and then play over and onto the green with your third shot, but that's a whole nother shot. You know what I mean? So, like, there's just, again, so many variables that can be taken into account at times that it really is an incredibly cerebral decision-making tree that, you know, I don't know, it's just a lot. It's just a lot for a sports game. You know, sports games aren't even Madden, man. You know, Madden's football, and, like, football plays are supposedly intricate. Like, this is way more thought. More thought.
I also think I think it just comes back to interest because, like, to me,
sure.
Like I said, I've gotten to the point.
These things get internalized.
Yeah, I've gotten to the point with football where, like, I'm recognizing coverages, like, but it's because I've played enough and like it enough to keep, you know, doing that. Whereas,
to
like,
put in your 10,000 hours.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas I see how focusing on that and really thinking through it, but I just got to the point where I was like, man, just let me hit the ball. Come on, just let me hit it. Like, it just. And that's unfortunate because I can understand the golf purists out there probably just cringing if there are such a person listening to this podcast. But
there are definitely, well, maybe not listen to this podcast, but such a person certainly exists.
Yeah. So I see that it's there. I just couldn't. I'm like, yeah, the core loop of lining those up was just like, just let me get to that and try that again. Like, all this other stuff is just fluff. Just let me get to try that again. You know, if I screwed it up last time, I don't want to see the flyby. I don't want to see the grid. Just let me get back to try that again. You're like, that. You know what I mean? And that's why I would just kind of rush through some of these things.
Sure. Approaching the green is the next phase of game strategy, and this is where chip shots first come into play. And this also has to be selected from the menu. This is for when you're close to the green or on the fringe Well, you don't always have to select it. Sometimes it prompts it for you, depending on your lie. But this is a super smart thing to keep in your brain, because one, on the fringe, it changes. If you're on the fringe, it's like there's more friction and it adds another variable. So that is, of course, a thing to be factored in here. And you can kind of skip over all that. And then also the big thing is, if you have one of those greens that are like a complete fuck storm of like all sorts of fucking crazy topography, and putting your ball you'd have to deal with that. If you chip into like a divot or something, that kind of makes that go away. You're gonna have a little bit of whatever rolling around in there, but very often later on, it would be a good emotional decision to do this instead of putting across that kind of 100%. Shit. And you have to think to do that, and that is not necessarily, again, because it does not prompt it for you to do it just because of how fucked a green might be. It usually only prompts you to do it because of you being too far off the green, either actually in the fairway and not even on the fringe, or honestly, I don't think if you're on the fringe, I think you putt automatically. So
yeah,
I think it's only when you're just off.
Me to putt. I think I chip shotted whenever I got to the fringe. If I saw the fringe, I was like, oh, chip shot.
Really?
Because I tried putting at first and it never went well, and I always got annoyed. I'm like, why would you have me putt from here? So it's funny. I stopped right here on this page because I was tired of reading and I was playing, and that's when we were like texting me saying, oh, have you sunk your chip shot? And I'm like, I'm not sure what that was. I was literally on the because I was tired of reading. But yeah, once I started using that chip shot, like once every single time land on the fringe, oh, special shot, let's go. Because it worked out so many times, I would be hitting them in, or I'm landing it way, way closer and have a much better chance of
the big thing about it is, the huge thing that's useful about it is, whatever this English that goes on the ball when you do this particular tactic, the high arcing trajectory removes the inertia roll variable. Basically, it kind of just plunks down, and like there's a little bit of a skip still, but it's way different than when you hit it normally. So it allows you to, the rub of this is the higher arcing trajectory, the wind can really fuck you on this, and like some of the amount of time it's in the air, you're like, how the fuck is this having this much of an effect on the shot? So they definitely zing you for this if you're doing it in a windy situation. They make you pay for it. But you can also factor that in, of course, eventually, and kind of get the feel for that and how much you got to aim, whatever. But yeah, the big thing is the lack of roll. And if you're not in a hilly place, yeah, you can get like some really nice fucking shots. And also chipping in, again, the reason I said that was because this is, I think, the maximum. Because when you're chipping, you're never thinking this is going in. You're just not. You're trying to get a good lie for an easy putt. And when that fucker goes in on a chip, it is like, ah! The maximum level of enjoyment you can have from a golf game, probably. So,
absolutely. It feels so good to do that. Like, yeah, absolutely.
Right. That's why I said you're not really playing a golf game, and you haven't rode the full emotional spectrum until that's happened to you.
That's fair. My point. And also, I would add, trying a chip shot because you felt that when you shouldn't, and it just goes horribly wrong. And I'm like, I definitely should have not done that at all there.
Yeah.
Like, fringe only. Gotta
yep. Yeah. They specify here, too, that it is strongly advised to not chip out of any of the 5 worst possible lies. Yeah. So 1 through 4 only. And that, of course, is why it only really comes into play when you're right there by the green, for the most part. And it mentions, too, that if you land on again, this is about how little backspin it has, I guess, but if you land on the fringe with a chip, the ball just stops dead in its track. Like, it has no roll, no bounce, no nothing. So, like, whatever that exact physics is that's going on with the ball, like, any friction at all just kills its movement, So, that's, again, just something I didn't know about golf at all until I read the strategy manual. Playing to the green from a bunker is up next, and it's explained the deeper your ball is in the shit, the further it will roll when it hits the green after it lands. So again, just a physics thing that I never would have assumed that or known that or whatever, so this taught me that. So you have to factor that in when deciding how hard to whack the ball, and again, check the green contour to see how that will factor into the roll. And then there's a backspin tutorial that is last up here, and the first thing to know is that any ball hit with the shorter irons will roll backwards after bouncing down to the green on the fly. So you probably want to hit the ball past the pin and have it roll back towards you. And again, land on any surface other than the green completely negates the backspin potential. So again, if you're fucking, again, all these numbers are flying around your head and you're like, okay, I'm going to backspin, whatever, like I'll go a little further. But if you go too far, you're going to be in a really fucked situation. It's not going to roll the ball. And,
Guilty as charged.
Right.
Times.
Last but certainly not least, it is putt-putt time, and they talk about fringe putting first, and you are auto-tuned to putting by the game when landing on the fringe, but if you're still quite far from the hole, you might want to consider chipping like we just talked about. And if you do putt from the fringe, you know that you're going to have to you have to put your back into it more so that then you would be on the short stuff. So again, it just adds friction to the ball. So it's just another variable. Then some putting generalities. You can aim your shot with the crosshair when the grid topography view is on, like we talked about. And I did not. So I saw this view a million times. I did not realize that was the case. So that was something I learned after having played a long time. So that was all the more reason it was like, oh, look at that. It's that meme of that the black guy at the computer store looking at the laptop and his buddy showing him. And he's like, oh, it's like exactly that. Like that was there the whole time, you fucking idiot. So yeah, that was something I learned late. And then also this is what they tell you, and they explain to you the 5 feet is not a gimme thing, that you have to fucking put some oomph into it still. And that was, of course, frustrating to learn that so late in my play. So now, let us kind of quickly talk about the tournament play, which there's not a huge amount of variance to it. Right. Well, yeah, there's not a huge... One, experienced the game already, and there's only so much to say, period. But also, probably our emotional bandwidths by this time were pretty expended, too. How many practice rounds? Do you remember how many practice rounds you did before you tried a tournament for the first time?
So I did... I did one practice round. I think I only did one, and then I did a tournament. But it was kind of like... No, I take that back, because I did my practice round at Sawgrass, but then I started my tournament with Avenel and did Sawgrass second. Yeah. But I think I did like half of a practice round or something in Avenel first, just to try to, I don't want to come in here blind. Let me just try a little bit.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I did too. And I don't even remember what courses I did. Probably just the Sawgrass, just top of the fucking list. And I came out of it thinking it could have went better, but I got the hang of it. Yeah, that was fucking wildly incorrect. Yeah, I actually did too. For my first tournament, I did PGA West. Because whatever, it's kind of fucking out here. So that was why I chose it. And I think that's the hardest course. So that was a terrible decision.
Yeah, I'm starting with that. That was my. Yeah. I got a brutal plus 28 and finished at 100 on that one.
Okay, I 90. I beat you. I can't believe I did. I can't believe you did worse. I was a 96. That's a plus 24 if you're keeping score. Golf fans.
I had a plus 19 in the practice round, and that's with mulligans. So that course. Brutal.
Pretty tough place to start for sure. So yeah, you don't make the cut if you're plus 24 or plus 28. So old Todd McTotters did not make the cut in round 2 of my first tournament foray.
No, that one had some whack waterways, man. Brutal.
Yeah, for sure. Agreed. Wind, too. I feel like the wind's a motherfucker on that. But there's just kind of the format differences between practice and tournament. The only real the no mulligans thing is huge, I guess, as far as the actual in-game golf goes. But outside of that, it's just kind of window dressing shit. So there's what's behind me right now. Instead of the Pro Shop view, pixel art, your kind of menu thing in between rounds and shit is this media scrum pavilion thing. And it's announced when you first come on here. It's announced that what the total prize money is for the tournament, and this number, I saw it go as low as maybe 850K, and then up as high as maybe 1.85 million. So somewhere around there as far as what the tournament prize winnings can be, and then you are shown a leaderboard in between each hole. It's like 60 golfers or so, where you're probably at the fucking bottom of the list most of the time. And that is, of course, a bummer to look at that in between every hole, how far away you are from even potentially winning anything here. And then there's an announcer that will pop in at the start of most holes to inform you. So, in the very beginning, he's the one that announces the tournament thing. You see a little picture of the announcer, right? And then when you're playing through the course, at each hole, most, if not all holes, he will pop in and just kind of like give you an update of what's happening, right? And it's always like, hearing how Fuzzy Zoller just dropped an eagle putt on hole 10 to move to 5 under par and third place in the leaderboard, and you're lined up on your 7th stroke on a par 4 while sitting at 61 on the fucking leaderboard.
They're always telling you about what's happening with people that I probably haven't even met. Like, they're way on the other,
right.
so far.
It's not always positive. They do tell you when people fuck up too, so it's not totally meant as a dagger turn, or it doesn't totally play out as a dagger turn. You do see people kind of falling as well, but of course the ones that stick out in your mind are the ones that are hitting eagles and shit, and it's like, I don't need it, man. I don't need that right now. Like, this is a bummer. You're bumming me out.
Like,
I don't
thanks,
fucking need
buddy.
this.
I'm trying to work on my swing over here. Like, I'm trying to get better. Like,
Right, yeah, I fucking earmuffs, dude. I'm earmuffing over here. Fuck off with your updates. You should be able to turn that off for sure. And then at the end of the round, if you haven't made the cut, and you probably haven't, a big blue box will pop up that reads, "The following players did not make the cut for round 2," and then your name is listed there.
Just you. It's always just me.
Right, exactly, right. Because, they don't tell you the CPUs. It's just the human players. So I guess if we'd have played together, if we could have made that work, we could have had the one caveat of us both not making the cut. That would have made us feel a little better, perhaps, to not be alone. But yeah, that is definitely also kind of a bummer. So everything about the window dressing the tournament stuff is just all kind of a bummer.
Thanks.
Right. So yeah, let's just quickly blow through the 4 courses in a bit more depth, and we'll go in the order they're listed in the in-game menu. The first one is the Players' Championship at Sawgrass. That's Ponte Verde, Florida, like I mentioned. This is definitely the easiest course, I think. So it makes sense that it's up top. There's some tight greens towards the end. There's even there's a island hole on. I think that's actually what the pro calls it, the island or something. And it's hole 16, I believe. But it's, generally speaking, compared to the others, a relatively forgiving course, I would say. The wind's a lot, but whatever. My score on that was an 85. Did you
I got an 83. I got an 83 that one. Obviously did not make the cut, but
obviously did not make the cut, but plus 11's better than plus 13.
I got one birdie. Putting was bullshit, and I did not make the cut. But I got an 83, so I was not feeling pretty decent.
Okay. The Kemper Open, TBC at Avenel. That's in Potomac, Michigan. Maryland, not Michigan. The most notable thing here, hole number 2 is a 622-yard fucking marathon. And the hole is, like, when it shows you the map, the hole is not visible. It is, like, underneath the border at the edge of the fucking map. Well, that's how big this fucking place is.
Right. And that was definitely a hole. I was just like, all right, crank it. Let's go. And it did not go well.
I would say it probably didn't go well, right? Yeah. There is an elevated amount of dropping your club below the recommended club in the pre-tee pro tips for this course, too, that I registered and wrote down. So, there's, because I guess maybe as that 622-yard example, they're so long that sometimes you're playing for whatever, and you're like, yeah, you want maybe this first hole because of a dog leg, they're called. That was a little bit of verbiage I gathered. The dog legs are the curves in the courses. And if you have one, like maybe it may be a 622-yard course, but the first dog leg is at 200, so you don't even want to crush it off the hole unless you're trying to go over those trees to skip the dog leg. And yeah, good luck, exactly. So yeah, just a lot of variance to be had there. Despite that, though, my problems I wrote down here were putting related mostly on this course.
Dude, yes, I also wrote here putting is bullshit. Yes, and since this is the first course I did tournament play, no mulligan, I finished plus 23. It was bad.
Okay.
It was bad.
This was my best score. 80. I got an 83 on this.
Oh, okay. Okay. Word.
The TPC PGA West stadium course at PGA West. It's out in La Quinta, California. This course, like I said, absolute cunt. So I had that first try. I played this one the second time, got a 91, and it was very much. I finished this, and I was like, my tolerance for this video game is about done.
Yeah. Coming into it, I was like, I was doing so not well that I was like, man, I might have to try this one again. But after finishing, I was like, I'm not playing that again.
I'm not doing it to myself. Responsible emotional approach to retro gaming. And then there's Sterling Shores, the fictional course, and there's some crazy short holes in this course. That was the notable thing with this one. Number 7 is 102 yards total. Yeah. So, Yeah, the pro tip on the flyby is bring your sand wedge. That's what the guy says. It's like surrounded by, the bunkers, basically, the hole. And yeah, so this is the one I was texting you, man. I was after 9 holes, I was in 35th place at a +1. And what? I cannot even begin to explain how much pressure I felt. What? And it's funny, too, because it materialized as a result. Actually, yeah, no, I guess I finished with it. I finished with a +9 though, so that wasn't my best score. 81 was my best score for this. So yeah, I mean,
I 82 here, so I was close, and I could have finished. I had a couple bullshit putting situations where I should have finished even way better than I did this one because I did well on this one.
If I
+2,
if I got into and explained moment to moment how my 18th hole went, dude, we'd get delisted. We're explicit. We're an explicit podcast. It's like denoted in our metadata. Spotify and Apple would delist us if I actually talked about the 18th hole experience, dude. I was fucking irate, dude. Yeah. I was irate.
I'm sure Miyagi is not coming.
Oh, gone. He was fucking. He's gone on hole 2. Anytime I turn this game on, he's like, I'm out of here, man. I can't. I can't. This is fucking terrifying. This is a terrifying experience for me. I gotta go. Hit me up, HMU, when you fucking finish this shit. Okay. Well, that's like I said, there's not a ton of difference in them, and they're just little golfing nuances, so that's just whatever score is good enough there. So now let's talk status updates, as if we're fucking RPG side questing here. Oh my gosh. Jay, tell me about Gentleman JB's final statistics.
Poor Gentleman JB. At the end of this fun tournament adventure, shall we call it, experiment, my longest drive was 294 yards.
Oh, so 91 was for me. My longest. I guess you were trying to crush the ball. I told you. I told you. Gave that shit up.
I had a driving accuracy of 60.2%.
Okay, actually, let's talk about because these are not.
They're interesting. And now I'm looking at them I haven't looked at all of these before. I mean, obviously, I won no tournaments, no money. my best 18 holes, because we talked about that, was the 82 that I got on that Sterling. So definitely the best. And then, because I got the 82 and then the 83 on Sawgrass. But my average score was 89.75.
Okay. So let's go. Some of these more whatever nuanced ones, though, are worth explaining because they're not necessarily just whatever the logical assumption. Or, I don't know, not necessarily that they're not logical, just that, there's more nuance to them than I would have guessed. Like driving accuracy, I would just assume, was I on the fairway or not? Yeah, am I on the fairway or am I not? Yeah, right. Yeah, so it's actually, specifically, it measures the percentage of tee shots that land in the fairway on par 4 and par 5 holes only. So it essentially excludes par 3s is kind of the point of that. That makes sense. And it's only drives, where you're actually not hitting for the pin. So that's, important. Yeah, it's a key performance statistic, often referred to as fairways in regulation in more traditional golf circles. And then that is, of course, kind of whatever sidecar by the idea of greens in regulation, which is your GIR. And this is a key golf statistic measuring a player's ability to reach the green in the prescribed number of strokes. So specifically, that means 2 strokes fewer than par. It signifies that a player has at least 1 putt for birdie or eagle, generally indicating good ball striking, of course. So it's number of times you get to the green, 2 less than whatever the par for the hole is,
So you want a higher percentage of whatever that would be.
Correct. So what was yours? You didn't give us that.
21.5%.
Okay. So maybe I should have been saying each one then. So you say your driving accuracy was
60.2.
Okay. Mine was 61%, so about the same, but a little more because again I was taking a little more off, so it makes perfect sense. And then greens in regulation was 30.5.
Oh, nice.
So so I was doing pretty good there. So again, my long game, fine. Shit went sideways for me usually at the putting stage or close to the green is when it really got off track for me. So then we have putts divided by GIR or greens in regulation, and this measures the average number of putts taken on holes where the green was reached in the regulation number of strokes. So it's like a complicated number in that it weights it based on your ability to also get to the green in regulation.
But ideally, if you get there, you want 1. I took 1 putt, which makes sense because I had 2.35, and I always I would get to the green early and be like, oh yeah, and then it was always at least 2 putt, the minimum. when it should have been like ideally 1 on a lot of those times. So
Yeah.
for me, 2.35. What about you?
1.94.
See,
So
oh,
exactly.
nice.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm getting there good. It's just the fucking, yeah. Still about 2, it's the same thing. That's more of a number of just being divided by less probably, than it is like actual putting performance.
Could be.
And then par breakers is scores that finish below the predetermined par for a hole or an entire round, representing exceptional performance. What was yours?
Jokes. 4.3%.
I was a 10.2 here, so on the overall a little more consistent, I guess.
I'm telling you, man, there were so many times that I got to the green and I was like, oh, birdie time or par time, and then the putts would not at all. No. I put it like this: if I was to just throw a number out there on just Sawgrass, maybe 60-70% of the time I'm getting to the green like, oh, this feels great, and then nope.
Reality hits.
Yeah,
Yeah,
reality hits.
Yeah, man, it's a fucking. It's not an easy game. In the video form or the underlying real world thing. I think it's just a very difficult game and not for everyone for sure. So yeah, clearly 0 tournaments won and 0 earnings. We already covered that in the economic analysis. You said your average score was what?
89.75.
87.2.
Nice.
A little more consistent. And that best 18 was 81, like I mentioned, on Sterling Shores or whatever the fuck it's called.
Fly-by track from hole 16 of whatever course Josh was playing at the time.
Yep. It's frustrating, man. I still think golf games are fun. This did not change my opinion on that. And this has plenty of moments that I did enjoy. And I think it's very important that you play it like sitting back and relaxing to, and not like intensely playing golf, of course. I think that's a huge part of actually enjoying yourself here. Sure. That's easier said than done for this particular installment of golf. But like we kind of said earlier, it didn't achieve its goals. There's just no question about that. I do see it's very much a worthwhile snapshot of the development timeline of golf games. So I think it checked the box that I think was our ultimate intent. I don't think any of these sports games that are kind of just the every year installments kind of in the 16-bit era are going to be games that get blessings, is kind of my expectation. I don't think that warrants not covering them because I do think they have historical significance. So I think this is all kind of in line with that. And there was plenty here that makes me want to see, like I said, PGA Tour Golf 2 and PGA Tour Golf 3. I think those are probably very good games, you know. And then obviously in the Tiger Woods, they are great games. Yeah, so exactly. All that foundation is here. But yeah, there is just they were too big for their britches, basically, here. They just did not have the chops, at least to get on the Genesis. You know, maybe the other ports, the PC, I'm sure actually the PC ports are probably have a better grasp of that because that's more suited for PC gaming, you know, and you're using a controller here. And there's probably just, if you can use them, I mean, that was the thing about Lynx LS, you could use a mouse for that, man. And that was like it helped. It was good. And it felt like more, just like the trackball does for Golden Tee, it feels more suited for golf, you know what I mean? And here, just hitting a button in two places is not the most pleasant way to give a player that feeling. And when it didn't work out, it didn't feel good.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, man, no blessing for you. No blessing for you. And both me and my dog are thrilled that we'll never have to play this particular golf game ever again.
Sadly, I must agree. I must agree, man. It's. I did not have fun. Like I said, there was no point. Even when I was hitting shots perfectly and getting a birdies, and the few times that happened, like that felt good. But it was such a brief moment of a brief high before going back to the lows of trying to line up those two lines. And yeah, I just know that an important game in the history of golf games for what it spawns and what comes from it, you know, what people are able to build on. There's obviously more fun golf games later, but that just, yeah, that core gameplay mechanic, the core gameplay loop of what you're actually doing is just not an enjoyable thing, especially if I'm
too anger fueled.
Yeah, especially if I come home from work and I'm like, all right, man, long day at work. All right, I want to chill. What do I want to do? And instead of like you said, I'm chilling on the couch, I'm focused trying to like get this slide. Because if I get it a little bit to the left or the right, it's going off the rails and my children are covered in their ears. And that's not what I want out of a game. So
yeah.
Unfortunately, man, I gotta pass. Graphics are great. The sound, they could use more tracks, is a good start. But I would not recommend somebody in the year of our Lord 2025 from the King Lord's seat to play this game.
Or 2026.
Or
the
yes,
actual year of our Lord.
2026.
Right, yeah, no, yes, I think, fucking starting it off right here in 2026 with a no blessing, that makes a ton of sense because that's just not quite there, but worth looking at from a historical perspective, like I said. So it is. Glad we did it, though. As I appreciate all these stepping stones in our video game history journey.
Because you never know. For all, we have those games.
Sure, they come out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere. You're like, oh, this is so fun, or for whatever reason. So we never know. Yeah. You know, came in eyes wide open. It happens. And
I'm just the simple fact that I got you to play a golf game, despite your like real abrasiveness towards doing so, also makes me happy. Well, that's maybe a question. So you came into this with no, like, just saying the word golf game. You were like, ugh.
Yes.
And like, yes, this is frustrating. But I feel like I got a kernel of that little diatribe you just gave us there.
Yeah.
Or a kernel of like, okay, I see, because you mentioned it. Like when that's the thing. That's the big thing about golf games. When it goes well, it washes away all the pain, you know? And that is here. And that is the core thing that golf games, even going back to black box golf on the NES, can give you and does give you, I think. Yeah. And that is what keeps me returning to the well on golf games, I think. And I think that's here. It's just, there's enough around it that makes it generally in like the full modern understanding of what it could be like playing a game like this. It's just not quite there, you know? So I guess, yeah, that's the question the question is, rather than in a shorter form, is what is your openness to playing other golf games now that you've had this experience, even as frustrating as it may be? Is it more or less open?
I'm definitely not open. I definitely don't want to play more golf games. Like, however, like I said, because I had such good experiences with later versions, like I don't know that I'd want to play any more from the 8, 16, that kind of bit era, just because I know the limitations. Like I'd have to even play them first, and even then, it's still like I still know I'm getting into golf. So you gotta bring something unique because I know where it goes, and when it does get fun for me. And I still don't even like golf at that point when I'm playing it, you know. So probably not looking to play any more golf at this point, unless it's
not like, outright, but yeah, it's
unless there's still, something, you know, unique and weird.
It's still burning in your craw right now, you know.
Talk to me. Come at me.
A year and a half from now, when 2 hits, we'll see. We'll see how.
Come at me in '93 with something. Right? But if it looks like that, that's a no go.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I've never played them. I had never played this one prior to us seeing in the mags. So no experience with any of them on the Genesis. But based on my cursory internet, poking around, 2 and 3 are pretty well regarded. So I think there must have been some kind of jump that we can look at when we get there. Here you on this one. Well, next up, we're going to be keeping it Sega with Sega Visions number 5, their Summer 91 rag. And I imagine probably towards the end of February. I got a few weeks here where my life's going to suck. But once that's done, we can get into some more Maggery. And then maybe we can also, again, like we mentioned, start discussing our next side quest too. Yes. In the meantime, you can subscribe to the pod on the platform provided by whatever dumbest company that does serve up your pottery. Please rate and leave positive shit for the pod on that podcast platform of choice, or any other for that matter. The website is nyehentertainment.com/ISOHpod. You can email us directly at isohpodcast@gmail.com to talk shit to us or send us receipts for able gamers and pick the game we're going to play next. You can follow the pod on Facebook and or Instagram. A link to the YouTube gameplay videos playlist is in the show notes. There's the ISOH subreddit if you want to get down what's on there. And then we don't have a Patreon, but if you like giving money to things podcasters tell you to, and would like to sort our direction, the Able Gamers Foundation creates custom gaming rigs for gamers with disabilities. That is cool as fuck. AbleGamers.org is where you can find them. T-shirts on the website. They're dope, and proceeds on those after pod expenses go to Able Gamers. We're both rocking some of those right now. And then, Jay, tell us where we can find you on the internet.
Gentleman JB without the second E is my gamer tag. You can find me on Quest, on Xbox, wherever you see me. The times that I am on PlayStation, Blue Sky, all the places. All the important places. You will not find me on X or TikTok, any of these shameful places.
Any of these shenanigans. You can find me on Meta, Instagram, and Steam at My Shift Key is Broke. And I'm on Blue Sky at nyaentertainment.com. Okay, bye.
Bye.